Chapter 479. Brother Fan, Brother Zhang, what do you think Zhang Zhong wants? Chao Harue asked the other two when the three of them continued to walk to the government office. How could Fan Jianxi and Jiang Huanshi understand? Just now, the three of them heard the words of the Lu family's servant. They had no idea what Zhang Zhong was planning. The people from the three families were arranged to other places. They were not locked up. Instead, they were given some jobs that paid them more money. Even their wives had a better job. In fact, in the evening they would talk to the local women who had nothing to do, so that they could know more about the outside world and understand what the life of a slightly richer family was like. Even the people of the Lu family had to do the same. The three of them did not understand. What was the purpose of doing so? Could it be that he still expected those ordinary people to live like the rich and powerful? Do you think Zhang Zhong wants our family to die of exhaustion? If you don't get enough sleep, you might get sick from being too tired for a few days. Jiang Huanshi could only guess like this before he figured out the situation. He did not think Zhang Zhong would be so kind. The more he thought about it, the more he was sure of his judgment. He began to drag his tired body and run again. The other two followed him anxiously. Lu Shaoqing and the other three families were indeed called to work by Zhang Zhong. Lu Shaoqing's family had other things to do, so they were not called to work. The other three families were called to work because their heads were not there. Zhang Zhong did not do anything to the three families. When he hid in the mountain, he took them with him. When he came back, he began to arrange jobs for them. In fact, the purpose was very simple. He wanted the servants of the Zhang family to learn from them. After all, Jiang Wang clan did not have time to teach the servants of the family. She put all her attention on the child in her belly. She wanted to take good care of it and give birth to a baby like Zhang Xiaobao or Wang Wan. In fact, the servants of the four families, in addition to doing some of the things they used to do, they just talked about how to do a good job, how to use the free time to rest, and what to do when the master of the family was angry. These things were different from everyone's mouth. After all, everyone had different understandings. Even if the servants of the Zhang family and Wang family did not need to worry about the master of the family being angry, it was very beneficial to listen. Since there were no special books to learn these things, listening to others was also a kind of accumulation of experience. The women who rested at night learned more about the outside world from the madams of the three families. Chao Harue and the other two felt that it was useless to do this, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not think so. The two of them felt that this place would develop sooner or later. Now that the basic construction was almost done, they would be able to complete the first stage of the construction work by next year and start to enter the second stage. Then, when the basic construction was done, it would naturally cultivate the unity and enthusiasm of the people, and they would yearn for the future more. As a result, some cultural aspects began to be unable to keep up. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan started a night school for the local people. Originally, the two of them planned to directly teach the people how to read, but later they found that these people did not want to learn how to read. They just wanted to find a place for their children to learn. This kind of thing was absolutely impossible. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not deny that in a family, if only one child was studying, and the other relatives were illiterate, this child's future achievements might be more promising than those of the children of the intellectuals. But this phenomenon was an exception. The two of them were not pursuing an exception, but a whole. If they wanted to arouse the enthusiasm of these people who were not willing to learn, they had to let them know more about the outside world. The wives of Chao Harue and the other two families were very good teachers. Sometimes, the mothers of the Jiang Wang clan and Wang Wan would also come over to teach for a while. Especially the Jiang Wang clan. Once she dressed up well and took out the knowledge that she had learned in the past to teach others. The temperament of a big family immediately fascinated the people who listened. From sitting, standing, and walking to how to treat people, there was still some etiquette. Even the wives of Chao Harue and the other two families did not know many of these things. As a result, the people who listened had a thought that one day, their own family would also be like this. To be able to live such a life, it would be a lie to say that they were not tempted. Although everyone was still an ordinary family now, with so many chambers of commerce established, Almost every family could participate. Even if the profits were a little small, after all, they had a share. In the future, when the Chamber of Commerce developed, their money would also increase correspondingly. At that time, if others knew more and they knew less, wouldn't they become a joke? When the country is rich, wealth will come from afar. When the land is expanded, the people will stay. When the warehouse is full, they will know etiquette. When the food and clothing are sufficient, they will know honor and disgrace. Today it was almost evening. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also listening. They listened to some things about flowers. The people of the four families and the gardeners of the Zhang and Wang families all gathered together. They discussed how to plant better and how to match the flowers. In the end, the gardeners of the Zhang family usually learned a lot. After making a summary, they came up with a lecture program for those who were going to be gardeners in the future. The status of a gardener was not high. It was not even as high as a farmer. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan still insisted that different people learn to become gardeners. They also had Zhang Zhong post a notice. In the future, such gardeners would be able to get an extra sum of money every month. It was not much, but the extra income was enough to move people's hearts. Looking at the gardeners on the temporarily built platform giving lectures, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan felt a sense of accomplishment. They sat below and looked back and forth at the other people. Xiaobao, what do you think will happen in 3 to 5 years? Wang Wan asked Zhang Xiaobao happily. We can't wait for 3 to 5 years. We have to make something first. 2 years, preferably 1.5 years. By then my father will leave. The gardeners must be trained as soon as possible. I don't care what others think of gardeners, but the status of the gardeners here must be raised. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the people on the platform and replied to Wang Wan. Then find more gardeners from outside. I don't know why these gardeners can't get a good status. The more basic it is, the more beneficial it is for the development of society. The current society is actually a kind of abnormal development. It has missed out on the important aspects of merchants and gardeners. Let's use a year to form the esoteric debate, and half a year later, let's get everyone to acknowledge these craftsmen. A year and a half should be enough. For the first step, we don't need to take too big of a step. We need to leave behind a foundation. That way we can continue on this path after we leave. Wang Wan understood Zhang Xiaobao's thoughts. He wanted to build a certain achievement in the 2 years Zhang Zhong was in office. This way, Zhang Zhong's ability would be valued by the imperial court. It would be easier to arrange things in the future. Another point was that Zhang Xiaobao wanted to teach everyone here how to read and let them know more things. If the next provincial governor developed according to the plan, then nothing would happen. He would have the achievements he wanted and the money he wanted would not be lacking. However, if he dared to come here just to gain benefits, take advantage of others, embezzle, and so on like some officials, then he would become a mere figurehead and be unable to do anything. Especially when he met people who were literate and more knowledgeable, it would be impossible for him to deceive them. Of course, Wang Wan did not think that Zhang Xiaobao's plan, which took a few days to come up with, would be so simple. There must be a backup plan. As for what it was, Zhang Xiaobao did not say, and Wang Wan was not in a hurry to ask. She would naturally understand when the time came. The gardener on the platform was still talking. At the beginning, he felt a little nervous and kept muttering in his heart, "Don't be afraid. The people sitting below don't know anything. Whatever I say is right. What I say is what the other gardeners thought out together. It doesn't matter even if it is a little wrong." With this thought in mind when he began to talk, his voice trembled like Weiwei's. However, as he spoke, he was immersed in the content of the lecture and forgot to be afraid. He did not care about the people below him. The more he spoke, the smoother and better he spoke. Similarly, the people below him listened more attentively. Not bad. It seems that this gardener has already experienced the benefits of the lecture. Perhaps he doesn't know. At this time he is very confident. He will slowly understand in the future. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the gardener on the platform and gave a very high evaluation. Then he said, "Once such a person feels that he is better than others, he will be worried that he will be surpassed one day. Then, he will definitely work harder in this aspect. But, have decided. After these gardeners are able to teach well, I will let them summarize how to teach well and pass it on to more people. At that time, everyone will not be afraid of facing such a situation. That's right. Give them confidence and let the people of Luzhou have a higher level of thought than the people of other places. That way, the development will be faster. Wang Wan agreed with this idea. It was to create a cultural atmosphere in the region and lead the people of other places. However, when she said this, she was slightly worried. She said, "However, I'm worried that when the time comes, the people here will look down on the people of other places. They will always think that they are better than others." That's right, they are indeed better than others. What if they look down on others? This is especially true if they look humble on the surface, but they will look down on others to the core. If that's the case, it will be troublesome to communicate with other places. Can you think of a way to stop them from doing that? I don't want to see them looking down on the people of the same country when they are outside. Wang Wan's worries were not unfounded. Zhang Xiaobao knew this as well. However, Zhang Xiaobao did not have any solution to this problem. He shook his head and said, "It is this kind of contempt that allows this place to maintain its rapid development. I can't think of a solution. This is a common problem among humans. It is the same between countries and between regions. In fact, this is a good thing. For example, it is because of this kind of thinking that people are superior that they pity and help the weak. I think we can't put the blame on the people of the places that are developing well. If the people of the places that are not developing well can be self-improvement and strive to catch up, it may not be a bad thing. When I left the orphanage and went out to find a way to survive, many people looked down on me. These were not the adults. Some of the adults pitied me and gave me food to eat. Some despised me and stayed far away from me, afraid that I would steal their things. It was the same for children. Some people scolded me and some people spat on me. I hated them at that time. However, when a child in a princess dress gave me the ice cream she just bought, I felt that the world was not all cold. Zhang Xiaobao looked at Wang Wan when he said this. Wang Wan listened very carefully. She liked to listen to Zhang Xiaobao talk about the past. She did not know much about it. When they were young, she and Zhang Xiaobao seemed to be from two different worlds. Tell me more, Xiaobao. Tell me more. What happened in the future? Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao stop and urged him. In the future, when I was 14, I met a child who fell into the water. His family was very rich. That time I thought so. When he was playing on a bridge, he got out of a broken bridge fence and fell into the river. I happened to be practicing swimming in the river, so I saved him. When we reached the shore, there were many cars. They were all famous cars. They formed a motorcade. At that time, there was an old man who insisted on taking me to his house for dinner. I was scared by the motorcade and stood there stupidly. The child's father wrote me a check. I didn't know it was a check at that time. I thought he would give me money, but he handed me a piece of paper. Course I didn't take it. I thought he gave me too little. He gave me a piece of paper. Even if he gave me 100 renminbi, it would have been better. There were Chinese characters and numbers on the paper. I still remember that there was a 1 and 8 zeros behind the number. 1 million. I just glanced at it and didn't take it. Ha 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 ha. Wang Wan suddenly couldn't help laughing. Zhang Xiaobao also laughed. A 1 million cash check was less than 100 renminbi. Xiaobao, I really admire you. You are not moved by 1 million RMB. You are amazing. Go on. So funny. Wang Wan continued laughing. In the end, the child's father was slapped by the old man. The old man said to the person, "Do you think someone saved my grandson because of your money? My grandson's life is only worth 1 million RMB. Only then did I know that it was worth 1 million RMB. I regretted it. I thought that if I got it, I would be able to go back to the orphanage and buy more things for the people there. But they took the money back. Naturally, I couldn't rob them again. So I went to the old man's house and had a good meal. The old man wanted to arrange something for me, like letting me go to school, but I refused. That time I talked to the old man and learned a lot of things. People have to be strong. Later, the old man gave me some money, and I sent it to the orphanage. I filled in a phone number and an ID number, and I really sent it to the orphanage. Don't you know what happened after that? The path I chose to be strong was that kind of path. After that, I had a few dealings with that family. One time I was injured and hid in their house. After they found out about me, they didn't call the police and protected me. According to them, they didn't care what crime I committed. They only knew that I saved their family. After I left the country and went outside, I cooperated with them to build some roads in the countryside and build some schools. I paid a large part of the money and they paid a small part. This was also a backup plan for my life. Even if there were problems with the funds, they would still help me. Of course, there were other backup plans. The two of them were originally talking about how the improvement of the local culture would make the people in the area arrogant. But as they talked about Zhang Xiaobao's past. Everything was caused by the topic of self-improvement. As Wang Wan listened, she stopped laughing at Zhang Xiaobao's behavior of giving up 1,000,000 yuan for 100 yuan. She held Zhang Xiaobao's hand and said, "If everyone could be like you, then the country would be very strong. Unfortunately, you are destined to not leave a good reputation after giving so much." "What reputation? Anyway, I'm satisfied. Now that I'm here, can't I help the country become stronger? Let's go. It will be better in the future. Let's go and see how the bamboo pole dance is going." Zhang Xiaobao didn't care about so many things anymore. His heart was satisfied and he felt fulfilled. He quietly left the classroom with Wang Wan and went to the training place. The two of them walked for a while and stopped at the courtyard they were going to enter. There was the sound of bamboo hitting each other, mixed with the sound of pain. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. They walked in and saw some people hitting two bamboo poles back and forth. There was also someone beating a drum. The beat of the drum wasn't very stable. The women moving the bamboo poles didn't all move according to the beat of the drum. Some men were dodging the bamboo poles back and forth. It was even more difficult to dodge. In addition to the sound of pain, there was also the laughter of the women hitting the bamboo poles. Seems that I still have to practice. Otherwise, when I reach Hainan Island, I won't be able to blend in better with the local people. It'll be fine after a little pain. They are really ruthless. They hit with all their strength. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the scene in front of him and said to Wang Wan. Wang Wan also covered her mouth and laughed. She hadn't seen this kind of thing for a long time. She had seen it before when she was traveling. At that time, men and women were doing everything. But the real custom was that the women were hitting and the men were dancing, so they could only follow this. When those people saw the young master and young lady, they stopped one after another and gathered here to let the young master and young lady play together. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head vigorously. "No need. You can play. Remember to be serious. Don't lose to others. In that case you will be laughed at. Hurry up and practice. Don't treat it as playing. Do it as a task. Come back tomorrow. If it's still like this, then I'm going to change people." Wang Wan stood beside Zhang Xiaobao and said. Now everyone didn't dare to be so casual. They ran over there and continued to practice. Normally the drum beats were basically fixed. But Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan insisted that they practice more. Also, the people who were dancing were not allowed to only use one posture to dance. In that case, if the people here had new tricks, wouldn't it be troublesome? The two of them wanted to use cotton as a gift and as something to exchange in the future. They wanted to use things like the china not to impress the people of the Li tribe. In the end, they wanted to use this bamboo pole to blend in with that place. Let's go and see how they are doing with the china knot. Wang Wan saw that the people here were practicing again. She pulled Zhang Xiaobao to another place. At this time, Chao Harue and the other two also found their families. When they saw the appearance of their families, the three of them were stunned. They thought that these family members would be sallow and emaciated. After all, they sneaked out for such a long time and their family still owed money. In that case, their lives would be very difficult. But they didn't expect that when they saw the servants in their family, they would all be in good health. Needless to say, Their family members were naturally in good health. Unless these servants had left home and found a way to make a living outside, it was impossible for the servants to be in good health and the master's family to be in bad health. The three of them were still in a sorry state. Fortunately, the servants of Chow Harue's family could still recognize their master. As soon as they saw the three of them, the servant of Chow Harue's family immediately ran over. He looked at the master and said, "Master, what happened to you? Quickly, the master is back. Quickly send someone in to tell the madam. Also, prepare delicious food and water for a bath. Also, bring out a set of clothes." After the servant asked, he immediately shouted towards the other side. As soon as he shouted, the other side became chaotic, but it quickly calmed down. The people in the family also came out to greet them. When they saw Chow Harue like this, Chow Harue's wife and concubines cried and pulled him into the house. This was a temporary home that was arranged for them. The place they lived in before was too far away, so they couldn't live in it. "How are you doing?" Chow Harue pulled his wife and asked. Good, good. We don't lack food or clothes, but we don't have much spare money. We used all the money we earned to pay off the debt." "Master, what happened to you? Did Tang, governor of Ning, not take care of you?" Chow Harue's wife said with distress. The other concubines were only anxious at the side, but they didn't dare to come over. After all, the first madam was there. "It's okay. Everything will be better in the future. Zhang Zhong didn't make things difficult for you." After Chow Harue entered the courtyard of his home, he found that there was no part of his body that didn't feel uncomfortable. His whole body and mind relaxed. Only then did he feel that it wasn't easy. Chapter 480. Chow Harue didn't expect it to be like this. He knew how difficult it was to pay back the money owed. Just the interest would compound every month, making it impossible for people to pay it back. But the madam actually said that it was possible to pay it back. How much salary would it take? What did this family do? Thinking of this, Chow Harue's face darkened. He looked at his wife and the concubines, asking, "Did Zhang Zhong send you to the brothels? Otherwise, where would he get so much money?" These words startled everyone. The first madam hurriedly said, "Master, how can there be such a place? Everyone here is busy working. Even if we create a brothel, no one will go there." "Master, it's not like that. We're giving lessons to others. In fact, we're just talking about things that they don't know. That's why we give them a lot of money. It's the same for the people at home. The gardener earned quite a bit of money as well. It's only with all this money added up that we can pay off the debt bit by bit." "Master, what good news did you bring back this time?" "Oh, so that's how it is. So you're telling other people things. Is there something wrong with the Zhang family's brains? How could they pay you for such a simple task? If I ask you directly, you won't dare to not tell me, right?" When Chow Harue heard this, he was relieved. Indeed, it was as the madam had said. Everyone in Luzhou was busy. They did not have time to go to the brothels. They did not even have such a place. But he just couldn't understand why Zhang Zhong would pay his family. If his family was bullied here, they had to endure it. He really couldn't figure it out. The first madam pulled Chow Harue to the bathing area and said, "Master, they said that the money given to us is not for us, but for the teachers. The more useful the things they teach others are, the more the teachers should earn. Otherwise, how can a teacher teach others without food?" Of course, they also emphasized that a teacher must have ethics. Otherwise, such a person is not fit to be a teacher. "I teach the most seriously, so I get paid the most. In fact, I also learned a lot. Zhang Zhong's wife, Jiang Wang Clan, is really amazing. She knows a lot of things that I don't know." "Well, as long as he didn't make things difficult for you, it's fine. It seems that Zhang Zhong is a gentleman. I was wrong. Life will be better in the future. This time I brought a lot of money back. Besides the money I returned, there is still a part left. Since you have returned some, there is more left." Chow Harue felt that his face was a little hot. He always thought that Zhang Zhong would bully his family, but he didn't expect that Zhang Zhong didn't do that at all. Instead, he took care of them. Although they didn't have much spare money, after all, they had a good future. They didn't lack food and clothes. Because of this, his family could be so happy. Next, Chow Harue and First Madam went to take a bath together. While washing, they did some things. At the same time, Chow Harue told First Madam about what had happened this time, including how he had been beaten up in front of the yamen and what he had encountered when he came back. It was basically the same for the other two families. Being able to meet again, the family members were happy but also worried for the master. Especially when the wind was mentioned, everyone's eyes were wide open. Even though they clearly knew that the master was fine, they still felt waves of lingering fear. The news of the three people's return quickly spread to the Zhang family. Zhang Xiaobao sighed helplessly. He did want these people to suffer more, but when the three people came back, it meant that things had taken a turn for the better. Xiaobao, think of another way. Otherwise, when they recover, won't they have the energy to cause trouble again? Moreover, they were originally guilty. We can't let them go so easily. After Wang Wan knew about this matter, she asked Zhang Xiaobao to continue thinking of ways to deal with the three families. She didn't want to deal with the one surnamed Lu. After all, he surrendered at the critical moment. No matter what the reason was, at least when he was organizing the people, he did a very good job and did a very good job. Zhang Xiaobao rubbed his temples and said, I'm afraid this matter won't work. They were previously guilty, but there is no evidence. If we want to sentence them, we have to find evidence. The punishment for leaving the post won't be very good. Besides, they must have gotten money when they came back, so we can't threaten them with debt. Let's wait, we can only wait and see if they will still do what they did before. If they still don't change their mind, we can find a problem when the time comes. Even if we scheme against them now, they won't be fooled. I reckon that they will have some money left and won't do anything first to seek stability. In that case, my trick will be useless. If people aren't greedy, how can they be fooled? Then what about the crime? They left for so long, even if the sentence is not heavy, it will still be a crime. At the very least, their official positions will be removed. Wang Wan didn't want to let them go so easily. She wanted to do something about it. Zhang Xiaobao had also thought about this matter, but since the three of them had returned from Jinzhou, they would definitely pay a price in exchange for the safety of the three of them. The price wasn't important. What was important was the attitude of the three of them. Furthermore, there was no meaning to the three of them being punished for leaving their post. It wasn't as if they had done anything outrageous. Thinking of this, Zhang Xiaobao suggested, let's leave it at that for now. We can't let the three of them off too easily, but we also can't use that as an excuse. First, we need to make them return the money, then lock them up and beat them. This is for others to see, and then finally let them out. This matter will depend on what my father is thinking. If my father wants them to be caught, then let's beat them up and let them do the work. The more tired they are, the better. In any case, they know how to do it, so there's no need to worry about not being able to do it. If my father is prepared to kill them, then use that excuse to report to the higher-ups and let the imperial court decide. I don't think it will be of much use. Zhang Xiaobao had long thought about this matter. It wasn't that simple, especially for the people from the Ning family. As long as they found a reason, say that they were the ones who took the people away and sent them over to help with the disaster relief. Say that they were the ones who sent the people over to help with the disaster relief. Say that they were the ones who sent the people over to inform the Ning family. In the end, something happened to the people who were sent over, so they didn't inform the imperial court. At worst, the Ning family could just take the blame and casually send someone to punish them. The higher-ups clearly knew what was going on, but for the sake of the stability of the other side, they wouldn't punish the Ning family. Wang Wan pouted. She didn't have a good way to make the three of them suffer. Just like what Zhang Xiaobao said, if they didn't care about the money outside, they would be able to survive by themselves. As expected, Zhang Zhong received a letter from Tang, governor of Ning. Just as Zhang Xiaobao had guessed, Tang, governor of Ning, took all the responsibility and hoped that Zhang Zhong could deal with this matter fairly. He also praised Zhang Zhong for what he had done and mentioned the contents of the memorial that he had submitted. After Zhang Zhong finished reading the letter, he knew that this wasn't going to be easy to deal with. Tang, governor of Qinzhou, had taken all the blame. If he really wanted to submit a memorial to the imperial court, he would have to bring along the governor of Qinzhou. When the time came, the Ning family would just have to mediate a little. Most importantly, doing this would only make the Ning family busy for a while. It wouldn't do anything to them, and it would only increase their hatred. This was something that Zhang Zhong didn't want to see happen. At the same time, if he really wrote a memorial to the imperial court, then the Ning family would be busy and they would have less time to spend on the local people. The people's lives would definitely not be good. Of course, Zhang Zhong didn't know that after Tang, governor of Ning, wrote a memorial praising him, he also wrote a memorial to push the blame onto him in order to shirk responsibility. The two memorials would be sent to the imperial court one after another. Moreover, the Ning family was also preparing to make a move against him, especially in the economic aspect. As expected, Chao Hui and the other two weren't harmed by Zhang Zhong. He just locked them up first and said that he would release them after questioning them. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Chao Hui and the other two returned the money. The three families immediately settled down. In addition, the people in their families were teachers for other people. Not only were their lives not bad, they were getting better and better. Zhang Xiaobao didn't have the energy to calculate, so he could only put it aside for the time being. He also looked at the three people's performance and put more energy into the basic culture here. Not only did he have to find teachers to teach the people here in the night school, but he also had to find schools. This required people, especially teachers. How could the people here be teachers? Just as Zhang Xiaobao was worrying about where to find teachers, Wang Wan said to him, "Xiaobao, I think we should be able to set up an academy here, especially in the Guangzhou prefecture. There are many people teaching there now. Why don't we?" "Yes, we can get people from there. Grandpa Bai is still here, so he can be the headmaster again. Let's go and find Grandpa Bai. What are we having for dinner?" Zhang Xiaobao was happy when he heard this. These days, he and Wang Wan didn't find time to learn from the old man. The old man also knew that they were busy, so he didn't disturb them. Therefore, they now remembered that there was a capable person here. The two came to the old man's yard, but they didn't find him. The servant said that he went to the nursing home. Old man Chong, who was the old housekeeper of Zhang Jiuling's family, also went with him. The two turned and went to the nursing home. Although the water was not small, most of it was washed away by the river. There was nothing wrong with the houses here, so the people who lived here could continue to live. When the two came to the nursing home, Bai Go and Old Man Chong were playing billiards. This billiard ball was amazing. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan couldn't make such a good material to make the billiard ball. The case was easy to solve, as long as it was made of fine fur. As for the ball, they could only be extravagant. They used ivory, which was really not cheap. The cue was simple. They just needed to find wood to make it. With talc, an entertainment activity of billiards began. They had sent a few sets of talc to the capital by ship. When the time came, the emperor would have some. As for how the others would be divided, it was up to the emperor. The billiard balls were played loudly, but not many could go into the pocket. The two old men were actually playing billiards in a muddle-headed way. Although there was a rule that the balls were divided according to the pattern, the one who hit all the balls in the pattern on his side first would win. However, the two old men didn't know how to adjust the position of the balls. Anyway, they used the cue ball to hit the pattern that they were supposed to hit. The result was that they didn't hit the ball on their side and hit the opponent's ball. Although Old Man Chang's skill was not bad, this matter was different from playing billiards. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came in, they saw Old Man Chang acting shamelessly. His cue only brushed the edge of the white ball. The ball didn't move much distance at all. He wanted to continue to hit another cue, but Old Man Pai didn't agree. He was there to reason with Old Man Chang. The other old men and old women were there to watch the fun, and no one stopped them. Anyway, it was a fun thing to do and it was really noisy. Hey! Just now, someone clearly bumped into me from behind. That's why I accidentally hit the white ball. I didn't want to hit it at all. How can you say that I hit it? Old Man Chong wanted to take the ball back to its original position, but Old Man Pai said that he didn't want to do anything, so he found an excuse. Don't talk nonsense. Just now, no one was so close behind you. How could he have touched you? Besides, even if he had touched you, your pole shouldn't have stretched out so far. You clearly used your own strength. Everyone, don't you think so? Old Man Pai didn't give in at all. He even looked for other people to prove it. These old men and old women were afraid that the situation wasn't chaotic enough, so they divided into two groups. One group said that someone touched it, and the other group said that no one touched it. It was impossible to figure it out at the moment. Old Man Pai, you have been an official for so many years. In the end, you even retired from the position of minister. Why can't I see that you were like an official? Isn't it just hitting it a little more? Can't you give in to me? I'll hit it again. Put the ball back. Old Man Chong wiped the cue stick with talc, and seemed to be admitting defeat. He insisted that Old Man Pai take the ball back. Since he said that, it was reasonable to say that Old Man Pai would give in, but who knew that Old Man Pai wouldn't budge at all? He held the ball in his hand and said, "Being an official and being an official are two different things. Nothing can be accomplished without rules. If I really put the ball back, then other people won't follow the rules in the future. No, it's my turn. Don't block there. Were you so unruly when you were a butler?" At this time, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had already come close. Listening to the words of the two people, they felt that it was very interesting. It seemed that this old man was sometimes very calculative. Old Man Pai happened to see the two people and immediately, as if he had found backup, said to the two of them, "Xiaobao, Cuckoo, you two tell me. Should we let Old Man Chong hit it again? He could admit that he accidentally touched the ball just now, but he doesn't want to admit it now. You two tell me. If you want him to hit it again, then let him. If you don't let him hit it again, then I'll hit it. This matter definitely can't be let go so easily. This thing was figured out by the two of you, so your words are the most accurate." Old Man Chong also saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and also said, "That's right. What kind of rule is this? He accidentally touched it, so why can't he hit it again? It's all for fun, so why be so strict? You two tell me, what should we do?" The game of billiards was made by Zhang Xiaobao. He played well, so he naturally knew the rules. However, he didn't expect Old Man Chong to not follow the rules. Now he was in a difficult position. Wang Wan also didn't know who to side with. The people around them looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, wanting to see how the two of them would judge this matter. "Xiaobao, say something. The rules of this game were written by you." Wang Wan didn't know what to do, so she let Zhang Xiaobao make the decision. Zhang Xiaobao smiled bitterly. "It's true that the rules were written by me, but this matter is not within the rules. It's Grandpa Zhang who is not going to follow the rules." Zhang Xiaobao didn't directly say what should be done, but said to Wang Wan in a loud voice. When he said that, Old Man Chong couldn't hold it in anymore. Zhang Xiaobao's meaning was very clear. If they wanted to play according to the rules, then they had to find a way to do it. If they didn't follow the rules, then they could do whatever they wanted. Okay, I'll let you hit it." Old Man Chong finally couldn't hold it in anymore. He felt that it wasn't good for the two children, so he gave up the place. Old Man Bai, on the other hand, was very happy. He looked at Xiaobao and Wang Wan and said, "That's right. Some things have to be done according to the rules. Otherwise, it would be easy for people to not follow the rules. This way, the people who do business would have no rules, and there would be more disputes. And if some officials don't follow the rules and do things according to the law, wouldn't the world be in chaos?" Zhang Xiaobao didn't expect that Old Man Pai would start talking about his father after he helped him once. In fact, it was mainly because he didn't follow the rules sometimes. For example, killing people. This death sentence wasn't something that a provincial governor like him could casually pass on. He had to pass it on to the higher-ups. It seemed that a lot of people weren't satisfied with this matter. However, seeing that his father had just arrived and needed to establish his authority, and that those people did deserve to die, he turned a blind eye to it. He had to be careful in the future and not leave too many things that could be used against him. In fact, Zhang Xiaobao understood that Grandpa Bai was deliberately giving advice to his father. It was also to let him know that some things couldn't be done too much. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to restrain himself. In the future, he would break away from his original intention and bring harm to others. In fact, this kind of situation wasn't rare at all. Not to mention the Zhang family, the other aristocratic families, and even the emperor, couldn't completely follow the rules. It was just that there was a limit to it. Zhang Xiaobao nodded and said, "I'll tell my father about this when I go back. I'll ask him to discuss this issue with the students when he's at the Academy of Cultivation. People can't have things that limit themselves, otherwise they'll be like a wild horse that's out of control. It's very easy to get into trouble. We have to grasp the relationship between them well." Old Man Pai was satisfied. He was really afraid that the Zhang family would want to continue doing the same thing in the future after this matter was done. If that happened, no matter how many achievements Zhang Zhong had, it would be unbearable. Hearing Zhang Xiaobao say this, he knew that Zhang Xiaobao understood his meaning. While he was praising Zhang Xiaobao's intelligence, he also wanted to protect the Zhang family as much as possible. He couldn't let Zhang Zhong walk down the wrong path. After saying this, Old Man Pai began to play. With a bang he hit the ball. Old Man Chong laughed loudly. "Good, that was a good shot. Thank you, Old Man Bai. You helped me get one in. I'll let you play again. Who knows, you might be able to help me get one in." Old Man Chong was very happy. Just now he was afraid that Old Man Pai would hit the ball that was about to go into the hole. Now he hit his ball into the hole and squeezed out the ball that should have gone in. Old Man Pai felt very depressed, but he still signaled Old Man Chong to play. Looking at Old Man Chang's proud expression, he said, "Be careful, I left the ball on the table. Seeing that you're so pitiful, I helped you get one in. I won't be merciful later. You have to be merciful. Otherwise, if you hit my ball in again, it'll be hard to say." "Ha ha ha ha." Old Man Chong shook his head, making the people around him laugh. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other. They didn't expect that the two old men would be so funny together. There were only 6 balls left on the table. Counting the white balls, there were 7. The two played for half an hour before they finished. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the balls on the table that were arranged again. Suddenly he said, "Grandpa Bai, Grandpa Zhang, I'll play with you too. You two play the same ball and I'll play the same ball. When the time comes, the 3 of us will play in turns. In other words, you two play twice and I play once. What do you think?" As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he moved a stool from the side. He was too short, so if he didn't step on the stool, he couldn't play. The two old men discussed for a while and nodded in agreement. They thought that there would be no problem if the 2 of them played one ball. However, after Old Man Pai directly exploded the ball with one shot, the 2 of them didn't touch the ball again. Zhang Xiaobao actually cleared the table with one shot. This was too easy for Zhang Xiaobao. Someone actually directly exploded the ball. The most important thing was that the hole was bigger than normal. He was afraid that the old man and old woman wouldn't be able to hit it because of their poor eyesight. Zhang Xiaobao was lucky. If the hole was bigger, it would be much easier, not to mention that this hole was half the size. Retracting his head, somersaulting, tilting his head, and even the reverse, forward, left, right and so on were all used by Xiaobao. Perhaps because he was in good condition, he even added a stool and shot a spear. Seeing the ball jump up, fall onto the table and roll into the pocket, this round was considered over. The 2 old men and the people around them were stunned. Wang Wan was also very impressed. She didn't expect Zhang Xiaobao to have such a move. It seemed that she had to ask Zhang Xiaobao if he had done anything like gambling in the past. Chapter 481. The 2 old men were the most shocked. They never thought that Zhang Xiaobao could play so well, especially that white ball. It seemed to be spinning non-stop. Every time it stopped, it was just right for him to comfortably hit a ball. This made the two old men really unwilling to accept, so they proposed to continue the game. This time it was similar to the last time. Although they didn't clear the table in one shot, the two old men also didn't get any balls in. After playing 2 more games, the two old men finally gave up. Xiaobao, how do you play this ball? Can you teach us? It looks like you poked it once, but why did the ball come back one moment and then run to another place the next? We must learn this skill so that we can bully others. Old Man Pai was interested in this matter. He could not do anything else now. If he could learn this thing called billiards well, then it would be good to find a few more old men to compete with. Old Man Chong and the others who thought it was good nodded. Zhang Xiaobao naturally would not refuse. He planned to do so. Although elephant tusks were valuable now, there were many of them. When the time came, he would let people raise more elephants. He did not have to use wild elephant tusks. Moreover, the rules of billiards were in his hands. He at least knew what kind of cue and table were better. When the time came, there would be another business. Besides this business of making billiards, more importantly, he could also hold some competitions. No one else could grasp the rules better than him, so naturally, he would be the one to hold the competition. Then there would be a referee. Even if someone else held the competition, they would have to get his approval first. Then they would be able to collect more fees. If he held competitions in various places, he could sell some things on the spot. He could also continue to make money through advertising. As long as it was an entertainment competition, he would usually earn a lot of advertising fees. Then Zhang Xiaobao began to teach a few simple methods. He did not say anything too complicated. Even if he taught them, they would not be able to learn it in a short time. This thing required talent and practice. He played thousands of set pieces a day. When the time came, he might make a mistake because of nervousness. He was in good condition today. Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao teaching others and knew what he was thinking. When he was almost done teaching, the two of them let the old men practice by themselves. They were ready to leave. When they were already at the gate of the courtyard, Zhang Xiaobao patted his forehead and turned back. He said to Old Man Pai, "Grandpa Bai, I almost forgot about the important thing. Grandpa Bai, we want to set up an academy here. We need your help with this matter. What do you think?" Old Man Pai thought that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were just here to play for a while. He did not expect that they would ask for an academy. He also knew that if they wanted to set up an academy, money was not a problem. The most important thing was the teachers. After thinking for a while, he said, "We can find people, but it seems that you can't hold any competitions here, right? People from other places are too far away. It is impossible for them to come here. Otherwise, we can do a lot of things with the delay along the way. Grandpa Bai, it's fine as long as we can find people. We don't have to make a lot of money by setting up an academy. When the time comes, we can find more students and make more billiards. Can be their daily entertainment. If a student is not good at studying but is good at billiards, then we can give him a salary and let him develop in this area." Zhang Xiaobao said that he did not expect to make money at first, but as he spoke, his purpose was exposed. Old Man Pai really did not know what to say. He nodded and agreed to help find teachers. Then he said to Zhang Xiaobao, "How do you make money from billiards? Tell Grandpa." Of course, it's to be a billiards teacher and partner, or to play in a competition. Billiards are not something that ordinary people can play. Just so happens that there are many playboys. Let them play. After they are addicted to billiards, they will buy billiards. When they play, they will think of ways to learn more. I plan to set up a billiards class in the future. When the time comes, we will let these people teach those playboys. As for the fees, we will charge them less. Those who are willing to learn can learn, and those who are not can just wait to lose. I think they will want to learn something from this billiards class. What do you think, Grandpa Bai? Zhang Xiaobao did not hide anything and said his thoughts. After Old Man Pai heard this, he did not say anything. He really admired the Zhang family's ability to make money. They could even think of this. Ordinary people only knew how to make money by selling billiards. Now, many people knew how to make money by advertising during a competition. But this time, the Zhang family was setting up a class to teach billiards. Of course, he would not ask. If they taught others, then the class would not be able to continue. In that case, he knew that the more people who knew how to play, the more competitions there would be, and the number of people who played would also increase. Old Man Chong was also calculating how much money he could make in the future. This kind of billiards game was very interesting. After playing back and forth, he could distinguish between the winners and losers. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan left, he asked Old Man Pai, "Old Man Bai, don't you think there are other things like creating a competition when there's nothing to do? For example, a competition between craftsmen, or a competition between chefs. Not only can those who win get more glory, it can also increase the income of some shops, and it can also earn advertising fees from it. Especially an official competition like this, wouldn't it be able to get more benefits? If this thing works, not only can it let people get benefits, but it can also let some craftsmen work hard to improve their skills." That's right. Why didn't I think of this? We should talk to the people in the imperial court about this. We can't directly talk about money, or people will jump out to oppose. We should talk about how it can improve craftsmen's skills and make better things. The moment Old Man Bai heard this, he knew the benefits of it. He was very excited. Humans love to compare themselves with others, no matter what it was. Those who won would study hard in order to consolidate their position. Those who lost would also study hard in order to ascend to that glorious position. Most importantly, in the process of the competition, one could see how others were doing, and what their own weaknesses and strengths were. Some skills could be passed down. If ordinary craftsmen were to compete like this, then after improving, it would be more convenient for ordinary people to use all kinds of tools. If it was a competition between places like the Military Weapons Bureau and the Agriculture Temple, then it would be even more amazing if they could communicate with the craftsmen outside. As Old Man Bai thought about these things, he said, "Let's have a competition between all the professions. When the time comes, we can let them compete to see who can create new things and who can create better things. That way they can earn more glory. Do you understand?" Of course. How can I not understand? Isn't the curved plow made by the Zhang family? If it was a competition, it would be a great achievement if only one of the 100 new things was useful. Perhaps many people in the imperial court would look down on such a thing. They were all stupid from studying, but the emperor and some ministers would know the benefits of doing so. Yes, there must be a competition. The local competition will be a small one, and then the winners will be sent to the provincial middle school to continue the competition. Finally, they will go to the capital to compete. Level by level, level by level. When these people go back after the competition, they can continue to pass on what they have learned through the competition. However, if they let these craftsmen compete in a small place and they won, what should they do about the travel expenses? They will naturally rely on their craftsmanship to make money in that place. But once they go out, what will they do with their families? Old Man Chong had the same idea as Old Man Pai and added some benefits. But in the end, he thought of the most important problem. Old Man Bai was not anxious at all. He smiled and said, "This is simple. Of course, we have to give the winner something. Why don't we just give the money directly? As long as the winner gets this money, not only will it be enough for his family's living expenses, it will also be enough for his travel expenses. Are you going to ask who will pay for this? You don't need to pay for it, just those advertisements will be enough. And if they really make something new, it can be sold for money." Just like the Zhang family, they gave the technology to Zhou Shihu. In the end, Zhou Shihu made it first and sold it for a lot of money. Although others will learn from them, they can still make money in the early stages. This matter is decided. You and I will write a letter in a while. I will send the letter to Beijing. You can give this to your father. Old Man Pai was now clear about some of the Zhang family's tricks. He explained it to Old Man Chong. After Old Man Chong heard it, he thought it through. Although there were some benefits to doing this and some people would criticize it, so what? As long as it could improve the country's strength and make the people's lives better, Those people were willing to say it. After the two finished discussing, they were no longer in the mood to play billiards and went back. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned home. Only then did they remember that they had not eaten with their two grandfathers. They were thinking too much and forgot about it. The two of them hurriedly ate some food and began to study the billiards. Neither of them looked down on this matter. Although it was just for entertainment, it was the most profitable. Moreover, the capital invested was not that much, and the speed of getting back the capital was very fast. During this time, let's start thinking about how to make billiards. And that ivory, what should we use to replace it? Are we close to the place where there are a lot of elephants? If there are no people from the Protection Association looking for trouble, let's get people to take a boat close to the seaside and get the ivory there. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan rested for a while after eating and then began to discuss this matter. This was another business, and a big one. Wang Wan thought for a while and said, "These things should be easy to get, or rhino horn or something. When the time comes, if we can find a substitute, it will be cheap. Do you think it can be made with isinglass and some stone powder? When the time comes, we can try it. That way it can be popularized to the whole people. Those who are willing to play can play with a little money." Wang Wan actually did not agree to let everyone play billiards. After all, once there was such a game format, then naturally it would become a gambling game. Some people would gamble less, and some would gamble more. Zhang Xiaobao had already discussed this issue with Wang Wan. It was impossible to not let people not gamble, unless it could really scare them. But even then, as long as there were benefits, then there would be people who would hide and gamble. Since this matter could not be put to an end, then let nature take its course. When Zhang Xiaobao heard that isinglass and other things were used to make the ball, he felt that it seemed to be feasible. Even if the craftsmanship was not good, it would not be a big deal. At most, it would break down quickly. After all, things like ivory were too expensive. Ordinary people could not afford it, so they could only go for the high end. Then find someone to try it. In addition to the things we mentioned, let them think about how to make such a ball. It doesn't need to be so crystal clear. As long as it can be used for collision, it will be fine. I will definitely make some billiard halls in every place in the country. Don't underestimate this kind of place. It is really profitable. If it is done well, it will be more profitable than some big business. Didn't you see what those billiard halls were like in the past? If it was not profitable, would those people fight for the position? Zhang Xiaobao began to prepare to set up a stall, but Wang Wan disagreed. "No, we can't set up so many billiard halls. We won't be the ones doing it. Do you really think you're the savior of the world? As long as there were benefits, there would be conflicts in every place from small to large. Various forces and some local people who want to get benefits from it. Do you think they can be dealt with? Let them open it themselves. Let them open it wherever they think it is. We just need to make more things and wait for the time to sell it. Let's do it this way. Even if other people can copy it, we don't have to be afraid. When they're almost done copying, we'll have earned enough money. Yes, there's no such thing as a brand among ordinary people. If anyone can do it, they can play as long as they make it." Seeing Wang Wan's opposition, Zhang Xiaobao felt that it was true. In fact, he was preparing to cooperate with some local interests, but this stall was too big, and it was not easy to do. It was better to make and sell it honestly. However, he was not ready to let those who wanted to copy take advantage of it immediately. He said, "Then form a big factory and try to reduce the cost. Use the cheapest things to make those cases and balls. In the beginning, others don't have it, so it will be more expensive. During this process, we can research some medium things. When someone makes a copy, we will immediately lower the price of the bad ones and push up the price of the medium ones. As long as we are familiar with the production, we can buy raw materials in large quantities, and the cost will be reduced again and again. We can even control the origin of some raw materials. In this way, we are not afraid of the price of raw materials rising." "Okay, then let's do it. Let's go out for a walk and come back to sleep. If there is nothing else tomorrow, we will continue to study." As soon as Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, she understood what he meant. As long as those people imitated, the price of the raw materials would increase. When the time came, they could even make use of these imitations to earn a sum of money. And from the looks of it, Zhang Xiaobao was prepared to give up on the low-end market and let those imitators compete. On Lu Zhou's side, it was peaceful. Those who were supposed to do things were busy with their work. The construction of the infrastructure was still going on as usual. The fleet was still out fishing, and there was still the processing of mountain vegetables. Even Chao Harue and the other two began to think of doing something after they paid back the money. When they contacted Zhang Zhong, they did not talk too much. After all, the estrangement between them could not be removed so easily. They also didn't want to see Zhang Zhong too much. Right now, they only had an official position, but they didn't need to care about anything. This was good. As long as they had an official position, they would always have a salary. Right now, they could rely on their family members to do things outside to earn money, and also their own salary. Their days were pretty good. Although it was a bit dull, the three of them started to hate Lu Shaoqing. Who told Lu Shaoqing to speak about their matters? Of course, they also knew that they couldn't completely blame Lu Shaoqing. When they left, they didn't say goodbye to Lu Shaoqing. If they were in Lu Shaoqing's shoes, they wouldn't be reconciled either. Now Lu Shaoqing used them to climb up the ranks. He had a job in the yamen, and those debts were erased. In terms of official position, the three of them were more powerful than Lu Shaoqing. But in terms of real power, Lu Shaoqing was much more powerful than them. Do we need to look for Lu Shaoqing again? No matter what, we have to ask him why he betrayed us, right? Chao Harue felt that he could not take this lying down, even though he knew clearly that it was them who wanted to throw Lu Shaoqing away. Fan Jianxi also thought about this. When he heard Chao Harue's words, he said, "Forget it. In the future, the three of us will be one. Don't worry about him. If we provoke him now, it is very likely that he will not be kind to us. After all, he has a job now. This is an official position. It is better than idling around like us. And what if he asks us why we did not take him with us when we left? What should we say? If we can't find an excuse, we can just give him a random reason. Then he can just say that he drank too much and accidentally said it. Or that Zhang Zhong wanted to torture him. What can we do?" When he said this, Chao Harue was silent. After thinking for a while, he suddenly laughed and said, "In fact, we are really lucky. We met the Tang dynasty governor Ning and solved the problem. Lu Shaoqing betrayed us. The problem is also solved. Don't you think the four of us are very interesting? I don't think we are better than Lu Shaoqing. At least he can go back to work again. Going back to work is different from staying here. Zhang Zhong always gives some good things for the people in the yamen to take back home to enjoy. Some are food and some are tools. In this year, how many things have we lost? The most important thing is that Zhang Zhong seems to have let us go temporarily. Who knows if he will do something else? Remember, if someone comes to work with us in the future, no matter where they are, don't worry about them first. I am afraid that they will pretend to be outsiders and accidentally fall into the trap again. Let's just stay here for now. After this is over, we'll see if we can do some business again. Don't do business in Luzhou and avoid the Zhang family. This way, if Zhang Zhong makes a move again, at least we can maintain our business." Zhang Huanshi sipped his tea and said to the two people. This time he was much more stable. He did not think about revenge, at least not for now. The only thing he wanted to do was to stay idle and see what Zhang Zhong was going to do. When the time came, he would write down these things and send them to the Tang dynasty governor Ning in Qinzhou. When the other two people heard this, they nodded. Chao Harue poured away the rest of the tea leaves and put in some new tea. He said, "Then should we also make some shrimp sauce? I see that they are all making it. This time we should do it well and not buy those expensive shrimp from outside. If the Zhang family makes a lot of money with this shrimp sauce, we can't just sit around and wait, right?" When Zhang Huanshi heard this, he put down the tea bowl and suggested, "Then let's make less shrimp sauce. Each of us can make 50 jars of it. Even if we can't sell it, we can keep it for ourselves. As long as it is salty, it can be kept for a longer time. I see that they have a lot of wild vegetables. Why don't we learn from them?" When the time comes, no matter how the Zhang family does it, we can just follow and pick the wild vegetables ourselves. It won't cost us money. The three of them discussed some more details before they returned to their respective homes to rest. After this dangerous trip, the three of them were much more mature than before. Whether it was when they were bullied or when they encountered the strong wind, they had changed a lot. They were fine now, but Zhang Zhong was in trouble. More than 50 boatmen were detained by the mountain villagers. Zhang Huanshe and the other two people concealed some of the details and asked Zhang Zhong to help them think of a solution. The three of them could fork out some money, but they would never go there again. Zhang Zhong had no choice but to start making arrangements. He felt that this was an opportunity for the mountain villagers to come down the mountain and do something. There were more than 500 mountain villagers there. If these people came down, Lu Zhou's construction work would be slightly faster. After all, 20,000 people were only 40 times more than 500 people. If these people really came down, they could form a team to do other things. With that in mind, Zhang Zhong began to give orders. First, he asked someone to bring some things to the mountain villagers. Among the things he brought, there were cloth and some food that the mountain villagers had never eaten before. Chapter 482. Another 2 days passed, and Lu Zhou was finally back to normal. However, the situation in Qinzhou was much more troublesome. The strong wind blew, and many people came out of their houses. Even the officials came out to help with the disaster. Huzi and his men finally arrived at their destination. However, when they saw the first village, they understood the situation. All the houses had collapsed, and there were some corpses lying outside. When they walked over, they could not see anyone. There were also some crooked trees. Hurry up and look around. See if anyone is still alive. Hurry. When Huzi saw this, he did not care about anything else. He ordered his men to run around the village and shout to see if anyone was willing to help. As long as there was some movement, it would be easy to handle. Facing these collapsed houses, they really did not know what to do. They could not dig up the houses one by one. Although it would take a lot of time, what if there was no one inside after they finished digging? Then, the people in the other places might have died because they could not wait to be rescued. There's movement. Someone is knocking something down there. Quick, come over here. A guard of the prince's mansion suddenly shouted excitedly. He called out to the others, and the people in the surroundings immediately gathered around. Everyone stopped and listened carefully. As expected, the sound of someone knocking something down in the collapsed house could be heard. Since there were people inside, there was no need to say anything more. More than 100 people began to dig. If the house had collapsed directly, it would not be a big deal. The main thing was that there was still rain, and it was very difficult to dig up. They did not have any tools, and could only find some wood and other things to hold up the place. At this moment they did not care about the pain. Before they came, the little young master had ordered them not to give up as long as there was a glimmer of hope. If they could save as many as they could, they would. If they could not, they should not be discouraged. There were still people waiting to be saved. They must have a stable mentality. Otherwise, how could they save others when they were exhausted? Huzi was thinking about these things. He led more than 100 people to rescue them. At the same time, he hoped that the people below were not too seriously injured. Otherwise, there was nothing they could do. The doctors were still on the ship. After digging for a while, they finally saw the people inside. Both of them were still alive and didn't suffer any serious injuries. However, when they wanted to speak, the only thing that came out of their mouths was a hissing sound. With one look, it was obvious that they had shouted so much that they had lost their voice. This was nothing to Huzi and the others. They would slowly recover once they lost their voice. Don't worry, we are digging. We will let you out in a while. Don't talk, you can't say anything with that voice. Huzi was very happy. He had saved people. He didn't expect that there would be people alive today. Everyone worked together and finally exposed the two people. A cupboard protected the two people, and the two people were next to the cupboard. One was big and one was small. The small one was still in the big one's arms. To be precise, he was under the big one. He poked his head out and curiously looked at the people who saved them. These people were wearing the same clothes. He didn't know where they had rubbed their clothes, but one was green while the other was yellow. All of them looked very strong. Furthermore, they were laughing. They should be very happy. Yes, he was happy too. After being suppressed here for 7 or 8 days, finally someone came. The big one was stunned for a moment. He pointed at his mouth and pointed at a muddy hole on the ground that was almost empty. I know. You want water, right? There will be water soon. Huzi said as he took off the backpack he was carrying. He took out a water bag and fed it to the big one. The big one dodged and moved aside, revealing the small one below. He meant to give the small one to drink first. Huzi naturally didn't care who gave it to first. He opened the water bag and poured it into the small one's mouth. After drinking a few mouthfuls, the small one finally felt better. He looked at the big one and said, "Give it to my brother." Okay. Where's your family? Only the 2 of you are left. Huzi asked the small one while feeding the big one. I don't know. The wind came. My brother and I didn't know where to go, so we hid here. The small one said weakly. I asked if any of your family members were with you when the gale came. Huzi asked again. If there were, then he had to continue digging and hope that he could find someone. The small one shook his head. No, they went out a few days ago to do something. Oh, okay, I know. It's good that they weren't together. Come on, big brother's back. Big brother will carry you out of here. There will be food soon. Don't be afraid. Huzi was relieved. As long as they were not at home, it was impossible for them to be buried. He carried one on his back, and the others carried one on their back. Both of them were already very weak. Fortunately, there was still some dirty water here. Otherwise, both of them would have died here. As soon as they were outside, someone began to make porridge. To be precise, they tore up the meat and mixed it directly in the water. There was no time to heat it up. When they felt that it was enough, they brought it over and fed it to the 2 people. After feeding them a bowl, they stopped feeding them. They were afraid that the 2 people's bodies couldn't bear it. One person was left here to look after the 2 people. The others continued to shout, and from time to time, they would use a wooden stick to knock on a certain house. If they saw a gap, they would find a way to get in to see if there was anyone inside. This rescue process was very slow. Even if more than 100 people didn't rest for a moment by afternoon, they only knew if there were people inside or not. Needless to say, there were indeed people. 2 were dead, 4 were alive, and 1 was very seriously injured. Huzi and the others hoped that the ship could reach the river as soon as possible. They had already sent people to carry the seriously injured person over. Not many people had died in terms of proportion, but Huzi and the others were not in a good mood at all. They really hoped that everyone would be able to survive. At this time, some of the people who ran out came back one after another. When they saw people digging here, they also helped. Huzi saw such people and asked, "Where are you from? How did you get here?" "We are from this village. When the wind came, we knew that the house couldn't withstand it, so we ran. We were afraid that the smaller wind behind the strong wind would blow us away. After running for 2 days, we stopped. When the wind was gone, we could come back to save people." A person who was digging hard said in fear. He didn't know if it was because he was afraid of the wind or because he was afraid of Huzi and the others. Huzi opened his mouth to say something, but found that he couldn't say anything. Could he ask these people why they didn't run closer and immediately come back to save people? This was simply impossible. If it were them, they would even be able to stay here and not run. After all, they were guards and they had to protect others. But how could these ordinary people not run? In particular, they were afraid that they would be blown away by the wind, which was why they ran such a long distance. Now that they could come back to save people, it was already very good. There was no point in saying anything more. The people who came back all ran away when they saw the wind in the sky. It seemed that not many people were buried. This way, Huzi and the others were more relaxed. They began to arrange things for these people to do, and at the same time they took out some food from their backpacks for them to eat. At night, more than 200 people had returned from the village. They were all helping to dig, and 2 more people were dug out. One of them didn't look like he would survive, while the other fainted. After feeding him some water, he came back to life. At this time, crying sounds rang out. As one person cried, the others also cried. Huzi and the others were also very sad, but they still had a mission to do. They endured their sadness and let the people here continue to help each other find food to eat. Their group began to prepare to leave. Yes, I wonder where you came from. When I grow up, I will definitely repay you, a child who was dug out asked very sensibly. When you meet someone who needs help, just help them. We eat from Lu Zhou. We are the guards of Provincial Governor Lu Zhou. And these are the guards of the little prince's mansion. Well, the home can be built again. Don't be so sad. Hang in there, it will be better in the future. Huzi said a few words to the child and left some food for him. Then he left with the others and went to the next place. There might be people waiting to be saved at that place. The child watched these people wearing the same clothes gradually walk away and said firmly, I will. When I can help others, I will help others like you helped me. Provincial Governor Lu Zhou. Is he the great good official's man? The child knew a lot of things. As soon as he heard that they were from Lu Zhou's side, he immediately thought of the great good official. From this, it could be seen that the great good official's position in the hearts of the people was also known in this place. The adults at the side began to prepare some wood and cooked the food that was dug out. They knew Provincial Governor Lu Zhou very well. Although he was far away, the news about the great good official had long spread to this place. I didn't expect that the people we've been waiting for are from Lu Zhou's side. They're so far away, but they actually arrived before us. Where are our people? A person who was also rescued said as he lay on the ground. When the people in the surroundings heard his words, they fell silent. Indeed, Lu Zhou was so far away, and yet, he was able to send someone to rescue them. However, they did not see anyone from their province. They would be lying if they said they were not sad. They did not believe that the provincial governor of their province would not be able to send someone. After all, the great official had sent a bodyguard. Judging from the time and looking at the spirit of these guards, it was clear who they were. They should be the most elite group of people by the good official's side. The good official could send these people out for the people of other provinces, but the official of his own province still had nothing. How could this not make people feel sad? The child who spoke earlier drank some more water. At this moment he said, Uncle, if it were someone from Lu Zhou's side, do you think he would be fine? Yes, if the great good official could send people here, how could he not care about the people on his side? It's a pity that we are not Lu Zhou's people. If only we were Lu Zhou's people. The person who was asked said with a sigh. The people around him had the same thought. They would have a good life if they followed the great good official. If they were the people under the great good official, they would work hard to develop wastelands, work hard to farm and pay a lot of rent. When the time came, they would ask the great good official to help them build their homes. As for this place, one day at a time, one day at a time. It was good enough to be alive. The Ning family only thought about how to get benefits for their family. The child blinked and suddenly said, Then why don't we go to Lu Zhou? Won't we be under the great good official's control there? I want to go there. Do you want to go? When my parents come back, I'll tell them to go there. I don't want to stay in this place anymore. It's not good at all. When the child said that, the others' eyes lit up. Yes, they could go there. Someone had already gone there before. It was not a big deal for them to go there. If it was under normal circumstances, they would be considered refugees. However, after the disaster it was different. The government could do nothing about it. Therefore, these people began to discuss how to go to Lu Zhou while doing their work. The journey would not be easy, so they had to prepare everything that they needed. We don't have to worry about food. We can eat while we work. We have to be quick. Otherwise, when the people here come, it won't be good if they stop us. We mustn't tell anyone. Everyone, split up and look for those who haven't come back yet. Then we'll leave together, the village chief said. At this time the village chief said. He was not qualified to be the village chief at all. Usually he could not help with anything. But today he decided to find a good place with the villagers. As for the dead, he would find a coffin to put them in and carry them to the place. Or he would directly bury them here. Anyway, there was a special graveyard for burying people here. As soon as he said that, the villagers began to get busy. Some prepared enough food, some prepared water, and some went out to look for those who had not come back yet. They hoped that they could find those who had not come back as soon as possible so that they could leave together. The way the government was doing things was too disappointing. If no one from Luzhou came back, they would rebuild their home. However, the people from Luzhou had arrived, but there was no sign of the people from Luzhou. If it were anyone else, they would not be able to accept it. It was too sad. Huzi and the others did not know what kind of consequences they would bring to Luzhou because of their forced march. They also did not know how much chaos this would cause in Qin province. Even Zhang Xiaobao did not consider this when he made the arrangements. Zhang Xiaobao's idea was very simple. He would send his men over. If they could save the people, he would save them. If they could not, it would mean that the people here were not in danger. However, he did not expect that the forced march could be so fast. This was under the condition that the road was not easy to walk on in the rain. If it was on Luzhou's side and the road was easy to walk on, these men would be even faster. Naturally, they would not have to walk. They would have to ride horses. Perhaps it would take less than 2 days to reach the 2 furthest places on horseback. This speed might seem fast to others, but Zhang Xiaobao knew that it was still far from enough. Huzi and the others did not dare to rest at all. After all, they had been training for the past few days. They knew what to do when they encountered unexpected situations. They would be able to hold on for 2 to 3 days as long as they replenished themselves with water and food from time to time. Naturally, after these 2 to 3 days were over, they would need to rest for a long time. More than 100 people continued to march, and after 6 hours, they arrived at the next place. This was also a village, but this village was a bit bigger and could be said to be a village. When they arrived here, there were many torches, which illuminated this place very brightly. Moreover, they could hear people shouting, "Great! Let's hurry over there. There are already people saving people over there. Let's see if they need anything. We have some medicine and bandages on us." When Huzi saw the scene in front of him, he was happy. With this, it would be much easier for them to carry out their mission. When they arrived at the village, an injured person was dug out. After being buried for so many days, he was still alive. This made the others feel happy, but at the same time they were also curious. There was a foolish person who did not care about the person's injuries. He asked, "Aren't you the big ox from the east? How did you survive down there? Aren't you hungry? Aren't you thirsty? You didn't do anything to hold on until now." The foolish person asked with concern. However, he did not think about the other person's condition. If this person was seen by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, they would definitely think that this person was more like some people who specialized in interviewing people. He did not consider others at all. Huzi rushed over. When he saw the wound on the person's chest, and a section of his ribs had been protruded out, he quickly pulled the person who was still asking the question aside. He came over to check the person's stomach and chest, and then opened the person's eyes and said, "Fortunately, it's not bad. It's just that his body is a little weak, and the bleeding is actually small. I'll stop it first. Brother, you must hold on. Do you have any family members? Don't let them be sad. Rest assured, as long as you don't give up, you can be cured. Our doctor is different from other places. He is the best at treating this kind of wound. You guys don't just stand there. Hurry up and get a stretcher to carry him. Follow our people to the river. Remember to feed him some porridge on the way. When we reach the river, he will be fine. Maybe the boat has already arrived." We encountered a landslide on our way here, so we were delayed. Huzi said a few words to the injured person, and then began to instruct the other people in his village. These people were now in a daze. They did not know who these people in the same clothes who suddenly rushed over were. From the looks of it, they shouldn't be bad people. Moreover, these people were all very strong, which made them unable to determine where exactly they came from. It wasn't until Huzi spoke to them that a portion of them went to make stretchers, while the others curiously sized them up. The head of the village also rushed over and asked, "Where are you from? Are you sent from the province?" "We're from the province, but not your Qin province. We're from Luzhou. When the wind blew over here, we set off. We could have arrived earlier, but we encountered some unexpected situations. Just now we passed by a village and we saved all the people there. The second place we came to was your village. Who else is injured? Hurry up and let us take a look. If we can save them, we'll save them. If we can't, we'll deal with them first. Then we'll carry them to the river. Our boat will arrive there. Don't worry about food, there's food on the boat." Huzi really did not want to say these things. If he said this, it would give people the impression that he was showing off to them. However, he had no choice but to say this. He had to give these people a sense of confidence, and that was, they had more powerful people behind them. No matter how heavy their hearts were, Huzi and the others had no choice but to pretend that they did not care. They gave people a sense of calmness and determination. As for what would happen in the end, they would have to bear it themselves. Nobody knew if they would have nightmares at night, or if they would spend a long time thinking about saving one less person. The villagers immediately brought them to the injured people and lit up the area with torches. Huzi and the others began to treat those who could be saved. There was nothing they could do for those who were seriously injured. They were busy until morning. Huzi left some medicine for the villagers to feed to the injured people. When the time came, they would carry them to the river and wait for the boat to arrive. After that, they would carry them to the river. After that, they would continue on their journey. They were a little tired of doing so many things consecutively. The only way was to let some of them walk with their eyes closed while the others carried them. This way they could relax a little. When the time came, the people who were carried would take turns to carry them after they had recovered a little. In the Yamen of Qin province, many people had gathered here. At this time, the Tang governor of Ning was ready to send his army to rescue the injured people. Yes, the army. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew that since ancient times, whenever there was a disaster in the land of China, the army would always be dispatched. It was to protect the country. However, the Tang governor of Ning was a little late. These officials did not know that before they began to organize, Lu Zhou had forcibly marched a group of soldiers over. Logically speaking, this was crossing the line, but who asked them not to do it themselves? They still did not know the impact that more than 100 people had on their province. The Tang governor of Ning felt that he was a good official. At least, he had dispatched the army now. However, his main focus was not on this. Chapter 483. The sea breeze in winter was indeed a little chilly, and it only warmed up at noon. "It's so cold." Luer hugged her arms and stood at the bow of the ship. A few seabirds on the mast seemed to chime in with her. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also stood on the deck. The two of them were not like Luer, who only wore a single layer of clothing. The winter here was not as cold as Hainan Island, and sometimes it was necessary to wear more clothing. Xan Air, Weiwei, and Li Sun also came along. The few of them wanted to find some islands and build some buildings on them, so that it would be more convenient for boats to sail at night. In fact, they were building lighthouses. The main reason was that 2 days ago, when the fishing fleet came to this place to catch a certain kind of prawn at night, 2 of their boats hit the reefs. Even the most experienced fishermen were unwilling to come to this place at night, even if the prawn was very valuable. If they were not careful, they could easily lose their lives at sea. Not only were there many submerged reefs, there was also no pattern to the current here. The experienced fishermen had yet to reach the realm where even if there was no pattern, it was still a pattern. The 2 boats that hit the reefs were towed back, and the people on board were rescued. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan heard about this matter, they discussed it seriously. In the end, they decided to build lighthouses wherever there was a possibility of danger. The bigger ones would be built on the bigger ones, and the smaller ones would be built on the smaller ones. They would leave people to watch over them so that it would be easier for the fishermen to go fishing at night. This was nothing compared to the prawn that cost 200 copper coins per catty. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know what kind of prawn it was, but the taste was indeed different. The most important thing was to draw out the area of influence, and use these lighthouses to gather the people's hearts. Just like in Zhuangzi, whether it was day or night, it always made people feel safe. If it was successful, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan planned to build more lighthouses like this. They planned to build more lighthouses further away and connect them with nets. Not only could it provide convenience for their own fishing team, but it could also attract fishermen from other provinces to fish here. Zhang Xiaobao stood at the bow of the ship and looked at the soaring seabirds as he said, "Light can always guide the way forward. There are too few experts who can explore the dark by themselves, so let's give them light." "What about the darkness? I finally know why you want to bring your father here. You want to make a move on the surrounding countries, or should I say those tribes. Building a lighthouse to protect the fishermen here is just one aspect of it. Now I have guessed it. Although building so many lighthouses is a lot of investment, as long as there is a lighthouse, there will be fishermen fishing at night. Tell me what you plan to do next. I want to know how you plan to do it." Wang Wan stood behind Zhang Xiaobao. She did not think that Zhang Xiaobao would build a lighthouse so far away on a whim. They were already half a day's journey away from the shore. Looking at the situation of the ship, Zhang Xiaobao seemed to want to continue going further. "Let us bear the burden of darkness and evil. I don't want to use force to deal with the surrounding countries and tribes. Lighthouses are used for sailing at night, but they can also be used during the day. I will put up a flag to guide the fishing boats. I will arrange at least 3 people at each lighthouse. These 3 people will stay here for 3 months. When the time comes, they will change shifts. After the dock here is built, I will send a big ship to patrol the area where the lighthouse is. The 3 people guarding the lighthouse must know how to cook, and they can't be too bad. They can be trained. At that time, whether it is day or night, the fishermen will be able to eat good food at the lighthouse. They don't have to eat the things that have evolved into sushi and rice balls in Japan. Don't underestimate such things. It is very important for the cohesion of a people. This is the feeling of home." Zhang Xiaobao finally showed his fangs. He was going to invade the surrounding countries and tribes. Wang Wan also knew that she could not stop this. The reason why she could guess that Zhang Xiaobao wanted to make a move on others was because she also thought so. There were a lot of resources around, why not? If you leave them, will they be grateful? Will they wait until they are strong enough to scheme against you? But Wang Wan always felt that this investment was too big, especially when they used a big ship to patrol in the future. If the big ship was used to transport goods, it would definitely make more money. I am asking you how to scheme against others, not cooking and cohesion. Also, how many ships are you going to use? Are there any people on them? Oh, you are asking this because you think that it is a waste of resources to have more ships, right? This matter is easy to understand. What is the use of more than 20 aircraft carrier formations? What is the use of more than 10 aircraft carrier formations in our country at that time? Subduing the enemy without standing still is a deterrent. I feel that the patrol ships can be formed into a group of 2. There are also 20 big ships docked at the Qinzhou pier. They can be divided into 2 groups. One group will stay behind, and the other group will be ready to go out and help us. It is easy to solve the problem of manpower. If we don't have enough people on our side, then we can recruit from other places. This is not an invasion. Military force is only a guarantee of peace. Think about it. If we set up a lighthouse on a small island further away, or even send a big ship to a place that has not been built, and connect it to other countries nearby, who do you think will be the happiest? Zhang Xiaobao knew that this matter had a long way to go. But if he did not do it, it would always be so far away. If he did it, it would slowly develop. Ooh. Of course it is the fishermen. They can go fishing further away. Don't tell me you want the fishermen to argue with them and then send troops over. Wang Wan suddenly thought of this point. Zhang Xiaobao was a little helpless. He said to Wang Wan, "Can we not go and kill people? The happiest people are actually the merchants. They have the best sense of smell. When the time comes, they will carry out all kinds of trade with the other side. This military force is to prevent the locals from clashing with them. Who would use war to solve a problem if it can be solved through economic means?" So that's the case. I thought you wanted to exterminate the other people so that no one can bully our country in the future. Wang Wan understood now. I won't do that kind of thing. If you are not weak, how can others bully you? Just like when my father first came here, the 4 judges wanted to show off their strength. But look at the result now. Even if everyone in the world is killed and only our people are left, there will still be conflicts. There will be conflicts. There will be conflicts. There will be conflicts. There will be wars. In a big way, without wars there will be no progress. In a small way you have cream cake and I can only eat cornbread, and it is that kind of coarse flour. You have a small handgun and I have a sniper rifle. Do you think I will protect my cornbread and maintain peace with you? Zhang Xiaobao understood this kind of human nature very well, so he never complained. Even if he encountered a natural disaster, he stubbornly endured it and sincerely prayed that it would be better to fight on his own. Wang Wan also agreed with this idea, but suddenly she thought of a very important problem. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, "That's not right. Your military force is to protect the merchants, but can you guarantee that the merchants will trade fairly with those people? When the merchants know that they have a big backer behind them, they will try their best to lower the price." "Yes, that's right. Otherwise, who will support my army? Won't they still take the merchants' money? Fair trade." The so-called fairness was that both sides felt that they could obtain the benefits they needed. This was the most fair. In the future, the fleet here would only ensure that the merchants were not attacked by the other side, but they would not help the master take the initiative to attack. If the merchants were capable, they would fight on their own. How much they could take down would be their own. If they were not capable, they would think of other ways. The army was a guarantee, not a nanny. Of course, if the merchants had the ability to provoke others to attack them, the fleet would be mobilized. This was also the merchants' ability. Actually, you are right. This is a kind of invasion. Under the protection of military force, a harmonious one-sided trade is established. That is why we control the merchants. The purpose is to maintain this very unfair one-sided trade. The merchants on our side who break this rule will have to consider whether they have the strength to resist the merchants. If those countries and tribes are smart, they will use this temporary one-sided trade to develop themselves. Foolish people will immerse themselves in the wealth of the land and enjoy it. In this situation, who is the rabbit and who is the wolf, the winner is obvious. I respect the rabbit who can leap over the eagle, but I will not pity the wolf who huddles in a ball and waits for death. Under the influence of the abstract concept of a country, Zhang Xiaobao was not willing to plunder the people of his own country. But when it came to the outside world, he could not care less. The world was so big, and he was not a lord, so there was a selfish side to him. In his own country, what he did was to reap the benefits. But when it came to other places, it would be in terms of resources. Even if Zhang Xiaobao was Gautama Siddhartha, Muhammad or Jesus, there was no lack of war. Who did not have blood on their bodies? Those doctrines were the excuse for their invasion. Zhang Xiaobao's excuse was that they had something good, and he wanted to take it. Wang Wan was about to say something when Li Sun came over and asked, "Xiaobao, is your family really willing to invest so much money to build lighthouses? One lighthouses might not cost much, but if there are too many, it will not be something that an ordinary family can support. Why don't I invest some money too? My family can support it. If you want to join us, just say so. You don't have to pretend to help. Do you believe that my family will send the news back in 10 days? raise 200,000 strings of cash in 10 days, and ship it here in 2 months? Zhang Xiaobao did not care about Li Sun's identity. Li Sun usually said the same thing. He acknowledged your strength, but was not willing to be suppressed by you. If you were strong, he would give you something. As for respect, don't count on it. The only respect he had for Li Longji was that he was sometimes considerate of the people. I believe, how can I not believe? It's not easy for your Zhang family to make money. Do you know how your family is going to make money this time? Li Sun did not feel that there was anything wrong with Zhang Xiaobao's words. If not, he would not like to hang out with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. It will take a long time to make money. We will have to invest more in the next few years. If you have money, take out more. When we make money, we will give you a share, Zhang Xiaobao said to Li Sun. Yes, I still have money. How much should I take out at once? Li Sun did not care about how long or short it was. In any case, he felt that he was still young and could wait. Usually, if he could make money in a long time, he would make more money. Chapter 484. The sails were raised. Compared to other small boats, the speed of the ship was considered fast. However, it was still not fast enough. Even if they traveled with all their might for a day, they would not be able to travel far. Zhang Xiaobao and the others did not plan to travel to Hainan Island in one go. Wang Wan planned to go to Hainan Island after she had settled everything here. She would be famous if she could write the words "ends of the earth" there. After the group of children left, Lu Zhou's yamen seemed much quieter. Zhang Zhong was still accompanying his wife. There was no one in the yamen to complain about him, and there was nothing else to do. The people were busy with the construction. The Merchant Association had begun to carry out some short-distance transactions. They were selling the items here to the surrounding provinces. The next fleet from the capital would not arrive for another month. The items sold here were the handicrafts brought back by the previous fleet. Some of them were made of good materials and workmanship, so they could be sold for a good price. As for the ordinary handicrafts, the people in the surrounding provinces had lowered the price. Zhang Xiaobao had long considered this. Logically speaking, he should have kept the goods in stock and then used marketing tactics to raise the price. Although the surrounding provinces were also affected by the disaster, there were many rich people. It would not be a problem for him to sell the goods at a higher price. However, Zhang Xiaobao still let the Merchant Association sell the goods on its own. The main reason was to let the provinces get used to the existence of the Merchant Association. For the first time, he did not expect to make much money from this kind of transaction other than the exchange of food. The entire Lu Zhou was bursting with enthusiasm during the winter. The infrastructure was ready to be built before next summer. The various industries began to cooperate with each other. There were children in the school as well. However, they could not find enough teachers. Hence, they decided to let some locals who knew a little about words tell them stories. At the same time, they could learn a few words as well. When the other provinces that were also affected by the disaster found out about Lu Zhou's construction speed, they were jealous and envious. Usually, the ones who were jealous were the officials. They knew that once the imperial court found out about this, Zhang Zhong would be able to quickly accumulate enough credits. Not only would he be able to leave this remote place, but he would also be able to go further. These officials had wanted to learn from Lu Zhou. They wanted to fork out their own money or ask the rich locals to fork out money to set up their own chambers of commerce like Lu Zhou. However, in the end, they realized they could not figure out how Lu Zhou's chambers of commerce operated with their own abilities. What worried them even more was that they would not be able to manage a decent merchant association in the end. Moreover, it seemed like the matter of infrastructure would only eat money and not spit it out. They could not understand Zhang Zhong's reason for doing this. While they were jealous of Lu Zhou's recovery speed, they cursed Zhang Zhong for being a fool. The ones who were envious were naturally the commoners from the other provinces. The last time they came to trade for grain, there were commoners who came here. They saw neat fields, wide roads, and beautiful houses. When they went back and told others, others also knew about this place. They were also rebuilding their homes, but no one would pay them, and no one would provide them with meat and vegetables. If they wanted to eat some meat, they could only eat fish, and they couldn't eat it every day, unless they were fishermen who had the means to do so. In this way, when the chambers of commerce here did business, the commoners from other provinces would ask them questions. This made the commoners of Luzhou proud of themselves, and they worked harder. With this, Luzhou's production and construction efficiency were much higher than other provinces. Zhang Xiaobao's plan finally paid off. Next, carry this person out. Remember not to let the wind blow on him, and make sure the cabin is well ventilated. A doctor wearing a mask pushed open the door of the ship that was docked at the edge of the Qin River and shouted. Immediately, a few people went in and carried the injured person out. The strong wind in Qin province had caused many commoners to lose their homes. With the rescue efforts of Huzi and the others, many lives were saved. The Zhang family's ship arrived first, and Li Sun's ship arrived half a day later. As soon as the ship docked, the people on board immediately threw themselves into the rescue work. The doctors from Huayuan County played a role. In a situation where blood transfusion was not possible, the patients could only rely on themselves. If they lost too much blood, they could not be saved, especially those with internal bleeding. After the blood was drained with a 3-edged needle, the doctors would use acupuncture to stop the bleeding and drink some medicine. If the bleeding stopped, the person would live. If the bleeding did not stop, the person could only wait for death. Fortunately, some external wounds could be treated by surgery. For example, when the rib bone was pierced out, there were doctors who were responsible for cutting it open and stitching it up. These doctors were not inflexible old doctors. It was impossible to expect them to learn such methods. Instead, they were specially selected to train those who were slightly younger and more flexible. They were not inflexible and were not inflexible. When they were in Huayuan County, it took a long time just to brainwash these doctors. Then, under the condition of secrecy, they dug up some graves, especially the graves of the people who had just died. These graves were all secretly dug up by the Zhang family, and let the doctors use steel knives to dissect them. This process was very difficult, but it was successful in the end. At the beginning, the doctors were opposed and rejected, but in the end, they understood and invested in it. At that time, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were relieved and strengthened the secrecy. They were also afraid that if this kind of thing was known by other people, they would be roasted on the fire. All the people who participated in the digging of graves were from the inner courtyard of the Zhang family. Those doctors who learned the skill were also restricted their personal freedom. At least, they were not allowed to leave for a few years. They were also not allowed to have contact with outsiders. When these doctors formed a system of this kind of surgery, they could be exposed. However, even under such conditions where blood transfusions were not allowed, many people were still alive. This was especially true when it came to disinfection of wounds. Originally, many people here did not die directly from their wounds. Instead, after they were injured, they did not have effective disinfection. That was why they became infected and died without good medicine and antibiotics. During the surgery, the surgeons dealt with this aspect very well. Until now, only a few people were suppurated, and it did not form a large area of ulceration. As long as the rotten flesh continued to be cut off and disinfected, it would be fine. The Zhang family's ship was responsible for the treatment, and the people on Li Sun's ship were responsible for the food. They did not directly distribute the food. Instead, they set up a pot on the shore, and those who did not have food to eat would line up and wait. Those who lost their houses had to stay in tents, and those who were injured directly lived in the cabin. The people now knew where the two ships came from. When the people of the province did not care about them, Luzhou sent people over. This was not only out of gratitude but also out of gratitude. Those who were saved began to prepare to leave Qinzhou and live in Luzhou. After all, there were many places to live in Luzhou. Tang, governor of Ning, only found out about the news on the third day after the ships arrived. They had already sent the army here to rescue them. Unfortunately, when they arrived, most of the people had already saved themselves. Those who were not saved might have died long ago. Master, by doing this, it is obvious that Lu Zhou is mocking us. Shouldn't we send people to drive the 2 ships away? Otherwise, the people will only remember them for their good deeds. In the government office of Qinzhou, Butler Ning said to Tang, governor of Ning, with a worried expression on his face. Tang, governor of Ning, did not expect Zhang Zhong to send 2 ships over, and also a small team of more than 100 people. It was too fast, or at least that was what he thought. For the small team, Huzi felt that they were too late. If the road was better, and if they did not encounter a landslide on the way, they could have arrived earlier and saved more people. Tang, governor of Ning, knew that there were many doctors on one of the 2 ships. Many injured people were sent there, and some people who could not be saved under normal circumstances were also saved by them. There was also the porridge that was distributed on the ship, and there were also people lining up to get it. This was like a slap to his face. Hearing the butler's words, Tang, governor of Ning, was about to agree, but he suddenly changed his mind. He was a little worried that if he really sent people to drive the ships away, the local people would riot before Lu Zhou's people could do anything. Then he would be finished. It was not his fault that the disaster happened. If he wrote a memorial to ask for forgiveness and mentioned Zhang Zhong, he might be able to get a small punishment, such as losing his salary and so on. He was not afraid of this. It did not matter even if he did not get his salary for a year. However, once the people riot, no matter whether he suppressed it or not, he could not expect to continue to be an official. The foundation of the Ning family was here. With a provincial governor, he could do a lot of things for the family. Master, please say something. Are you driving them away? If you want to drive them away, I will arrange it right away. The butler saw that the master did not say anything, so he asked again. Drive them away. You can't drive them away. See how much food is left in the mansion. Ask someone to send it over there and cook porridge for the people. We can't let Zhang Zhong take all the benefits. Tang, governor of Ning, thought about it and felt that since he could not drive people away, it was better to learn from the master. He wanted to win back some people's hearts. Besides, the food here did not belong to his family. If there was no wind, he could still be greedy. But now he could only take it out. The butler was not stupid. After hearing the master's words, he immediately understood the meaning. He nodded and said, Master is right. Then I will go and prepare. Master, why don't you go over there and see for yourself and ask about the situation of the people? Okay, prepare the carriage. I will go and have a look. Tang, governor of Ning, did not object to this proposal. Since he could not take out more things, he could still go over. He believed that as long as the people saw him go over, they would be very happy. Chapter 485. Zhang Zhong did not know that the Tang governor of Ning was still plotting against him. In fact, even if he knew, he would not care. Some small tricks might be useful in certain situations, but under such circumstances, they would not work at all. On the contrary, they would only cause the Tang governor of Ning to fall into a worse situation. Zhang Zhong finally came out of his house today. He had new things to do. The road had been repaired, so the people who were working on the road had nothing to do. Together with the boatmen who were released from the mountain and the 200 mountain people who were sent down from the mountain, they could do other things. In fact, they were preparing to form a windmill formation here. When the time came, there would be a workshop below. Naturally, they would process some wood and fish bones in the sea. Lathes made of stainless steel were not so precise and were very easy to break down. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan still insisted on making this thing. At least it was faster and easier than manual work. There was no need to worry about damage. If it broke down, they could just do it again and learn from it. Any development had to be done slowly. It was impossible to meet the requirements in a short time. One lathe was used to saw wood to make sofas and other furniture. The other lathe was used to smash fish bones. The good fish bones were made into bone powder for people to eat, and the bad ones were used to feed poultry and livestock. If this kind of resource was not used well, then it would be a waste of the sea. There were also some other lathes that were turned to see if there was anything wrong with the structure so that it could be adjusted when the time came. This was not made by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, but by the craftsmen at home. Even if it was just an experiment in this aspect, it was still the first step. After the road was repaired, the people on the mountain were gathered together. The mountain people were very cautious. Even if they knew that the new official was a good one, they still had a trace of suspicion and distrust. Zhang Zhong looked at the people standing in front of him, organized his words and said, "Whether it is the people living on the mountain or the people who originally lived here, we will have to work together in the future. Don't attack each other. In my opinion, we are all the same people. Someone will tell you what to do in a while. Now eat something first. After eating, we will start working." Zhang Zhong actually had a lot of things he wanted to say, but he didn't know how to say them, so he only said a short sentence. The local people could understand, but only 2 people who came down from the mountain understood Zhang Zhong's words. The 2 of them were temporary interpreters, and at the same time they were responsible for taking care of the people who came down. They repeated Zhang Zhong's words to the people and made arrangements. Only then could they be considered to be working together. "Xiao Bao, where are we going? This boat is too slow. It's a pity that there are only 2 boats with propellers," and both of them went to Qinzhou. On the sea, Wang Wan ran to the lookout tower and pulled Zhang Xiaobao up as well. She used her 1,000 li eyes to look at the endless sea and asked, "Let's sail for another 2 days. We'll go wherever we can and then circle back. There are a lot of sharks here. It seems that we can't come here to fish or do business. If we're not careful, we'll be eaten by sharks." Zhang Xiaobao did not think of going anywhere in a short time. Relying on the boat alone would take too much time. Along the way, he saw many sharks. He had been to this sea before, but he had not seen so many sharks. At this time, he was thinking of how to reduce the number of sharks. As long as they did not threaten the boats, it would be fine. Even without these sharks, we can't use small boats to carry goods and do business. If a bigger wave comes, the boat will be finished. Furthermore, there are no satellites or anything like that. We can only rely on human judgment to avoid the strong winds. If we send out small boats, there will be no more. Sharks are good. There are many shark fins, shark people and shark skin. Anyway, the shark's body is good stuff. Before people hunt sharks, even if we kill them, we will not be able to kill them all. It's a pity that we have not seen any whales yet. Otherwise, we would have thought of a way to catch a few. That would be more valuable. What do you think we should do to deal with these sharks? The local fishermen's method of killing sharks is too bad. We have to think of a way. One is to make the fishermen safer, and the other is to sell the sharks and make a lot of money. Wang Wan did not have the slightest idea of protecting this kind of shark. She just wanted to get benefits from it. Moreover, she also liked to eat shark fins. Zhang Xiaobao saw another shark swimming by. He thought for a moment and said, "It is not difficult to catch sharks. We can use a few big boats and some iron nets. It is expensive. When the time comes, we can use a thick rope to tie them up and sink them into the water. Then we can catch a few pigs, cut some holes on the pigs and throw them into the water. Naturally, sharks will come to eat. When there are more sharks, we can lift the net. Or we can use an ordinary net and make it sturdier. It is also fine to drop stones and sink them. It is not as good as iron nets. Yes, we will do that. When we go back, we will wait for the next big boat to come and take a few boats to catch sharks." Zhang Xiaobao thought of a way to catch sharks. Wang Wan also knew that this method was not bad. If they were proficient, they could even keep catching sharks. As long as there were sharks nearby, they would be attracted by the blood. The only thing to consider was whether the iron net had thorns. If it had thorns, it would be better if the shark's blood flowed out. But in that case, the shark's skin would be damaged, and it would not be valuable to make things. "Xiao Bao, let's use an ordinary internet cafe. If we use iron nets without thorns, it is better to use an ordinary net. I'm going to make something with shark skin. Xiao Bao, don't you think we are too cruel? Wang Wan suddenly asked as she was talking. Yes, cruel. It is too cruel. How can we do this? From today onwards we will not eat any meat. If we want to eat eggs, we will eat the eggs that have not been fertilized. We will only raise hens. We will not eat a single rooster. Zhang Xiaobao followed and said. He did not think that it was cruel. If it was eating people, it was indeed cruel. But eating sharks was nothing. After all, sharks did not consider whether it was cruel or not when they ate people. They did it for survival. Humans also ate sharks for survival. This survival was not only to live but also to live better. Wang Wan was just saying casually. She just thought of using shark skin to make things. That was, she would not let people go even if they were dead. Hearing Zhang Xiaobao say that he was going to be a kind of monk, she smiled and climbed down. Xiaobao, I won't watch anymore. It's time to eat. Today's lunch will be food from the sea. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan arrived at the restaurant, Li Sun and the others had already eaten. The shrimp caught from the sea was directly cooked, and the seaweed fished out from the sea was also made into cold dishes. Li Sun, who was still chewing, was still holding 2 big shrimps in his hand. When he saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan come in, he said happily, "It's good to eat here. When we eat seafood, we can always eat fresh ones. It's not like in Beijing where it costs a lot to eat live seafood. We have to use seawater to nourish them along the way. Come and eat. It's a pity that the crabs are no longer edible. Otherwise I would steam some crabs. I won't eat anything else for the whole day." Not only did Li Sun eat quickly, but Lu Erx and Air, and Wei Wei also lowered their heads and ate with all their might. This time they were finally satisfied. The only regret was that there were no drunk shrimps to eat. There were a lot of rules when it came to eating drunk shrimps. In order to not get sick, they could only try their best to eat as little raw food as possible. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan washed their hands and sat down. They each took a big prawn and started eating. However, the 2 of them ate in a more elegant manner. After they finished the meat, the shell of the prawn was placed there, looking like a whole prawn. When Li Sun saw this, he also followed suit. However, after all, he had just learned it and could not make the shell of the shrimp so complete. In the end, he could only give up and say, "It's just a shrimp. Is there a need to do this? Could it be that the shell of the shrimp is of some use?" When he said this, Zhang Xiaobao's eyes lit up. He said, "Yes, the shell of the shrimp can't be wasted. It's the same with some small shrimps. When the time comes, we can make food." "What kind of food? Can people still eat this?" Li Sun stopped and looked at Zhang Xiaobao. He was very curious about this. He did not know what strange thing Zhang Xiaobao had thought of. Of course they can be eaten. They can be dried and made into shrimp powder to feed people. After they are dried, they can be transported to other places. People in Tang don't eat them, but there are also places like Tufan and Tujue. They are far away from the sea. I have decided that when the goods here are not enough, we will transport these seemingly useless things. After we transport them to the capital, we will process them into shrimp balls, crab balls and fish balls and sell them to Tujue, Tufan and other places. Let them eat them. Well, let's do it. Anyway, they don't know what those things are made of, and they taste good. Zhang Xiaobao came up with a very immoral idea and then said, "As for our side, the shrimp balls we eat are made of meat. Although we can eat such things now, there are many places that we can't even think about. Some people even don't know what the sea tastes like. It is a pity to live like that for a lifetime." Hearing Zhang Xiaobao's words, Li Sun wiped her hands and said, "That's true. It's not just that we can't eat seafood. Many people don't even know what the sea looks like. That's why many places only call the bigger lakes the sea. I've decided to build more ships, big ships, fast ships, and then let people from other places come here to take a look. That way, they won't be wasting their time on this world." Li Sun's idea was very good, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew that it was impossible to achieve. Unless the roads were repaired and then there were cars and other things, it was impossible to rely on boats to pick people up from other places. If they really only used boats to pick people up, not to mention that there were many places without rivers, even if there were, what about the remote mountainous areas? Would they let people walk for a few months, then go to the river, take a big boat out to sea and then go back? Then they would not work. They would waste their time on the journey. Especially in some farther places such as Tibet and Xinjiang, the roads could not be repaired in a short time. The two of them looked at Li Sun's yearning look and did not have the heart to pour cold water on him. Since he wanted to do that, let him try. Even if he failed in the end, at least he had tried. Yes, I agree. We must build more big ships. When the time comes, everyone will know what the sea looks like, and everyone will be able to eat seafood. But this is not enough. Some places don't have big rivers, only small rivers. Big ships can't go in, and even if small boats can go in, the roads there are too remote. Takes a few months for people who live in the mountains to come out. Why don't we build the ships first, and then we will make more money? When we have a lot of money, we will use it to build roads. We will build roads everywhere, and then we will raise more horses. When the time comes, we will let those people who live in the mountains ride fast horses out. Then we will change to small boats, and then we will go out to sea after boarding a big ship. Zhang Xiaobao followed Li Sun's words. First, there was a goal, but whether it could be achieved was not known. However, Zhang Xiaobao felt that it was very difficult. Not to mention now, how many times did he and Wang Wan not see the sea personally? They saw it on TV and other things. Li Sun did not think so much. When he heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, he seemed to have incomparable confidence. He nodded and said, "Yes, that's it. Xiaobao, then your family needs to find more profitable businesses. Otherwise, if you want to build so many roads, hundreds of thousands of strings of money will be like a small stone thrown into the sea. It won't make any waves at all." Li Sun was not stupid. When he heard that building roads would cost a lot of money, it was not something that he and the Zhang family could support now. When the time came, the money would be spent like flowing water. Thinking about it, he felt that it was not easy to do. The amount was too large. However, he believed in the Zhang family's ability to make money. In addition, some local people were willing to build roads themselves. As long as they took out the money, then there was no need to do anything. Let the people build the roads themselves. Zhang Xiaobao thought about Li Sun's words and sped up his eating speed. At the same time, he gave Wang Wan a look. Wang Wan also sped up her eating speed. The two of them hurriedly finished eating and ran back to the observation deck. "Xiaobao, do you have something to say?" Wang Wan asked Zhang Xiaobao as soon as she climbed up. "Yes, I think we should speed up, especially the varieties of grains and vegetables outside. We should get them as soon as possible. After we plant them here, we won't have to worry about food and clothing. That way we will have spare money to build roads. Tomorrow we will go back. Along the way we will send people to build lighthouses. Let's adjust our manpower and build the shipyard as soon as possible. When the time comes, we will send people out to take risks. As long as one of the 10 ships comes back with products from other places, it will be worth it. The sea is like this. Wealth and danger coexist. Now that the foreign races have not formed a scale of invasion, we have to lay a good foundation. In history, it seems that every time we wanted to develop, we would be interrupted by war." Zhang Xiaobao saw how ambitious Li Sun was, and it also aroused the pride in his heart. Why couldn't they develop properly? As long as they had a good foundation, they wouldn't be afraid even if there was internal strife. At least when they were ahead of others, they would be able to pull apart the distance when they had a certain amount of success. It wasn't something that could be easily defeated. What's more, if they were really strong, they couldn't always wait for others to attack them. Maybe they would attack others. In that case, the first thing to solve was the food problem. In addition to this, it was the population. This was not the time when the population had reached more than 1 billion. They must increase the population base. When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, she immediately understood what he was thinking. She also agreed with this point. After living a good life in her family, She could think about making the motherland strong. She held Zhang Xiaobao's hand and said, "No matter what, it's useless to worry about it. After all, it seems impossible to find and transport the things back every few years. It's better to deal with the matter in front of us first. It's now the Kaiyuan era, and it hasn't reached the peak of the Kaiyuan era. There's still time to do it, there's no hurry." "Yes, there's no hurry. It's still early. Let's stay one more day and do it bit by bit. When the time comes, do you think we should organize people to go there to make money? This matter is really very complicated. The most afraid thing is that the people in power are not willing." Zhang Xiaobao also felt that he was a little anxious. Just now he was influenced by Li Sun. Even a person like Li Sun wanted to let everyone see the sea. So how could he and Wang Wan be worse? Wang Wan also thought of the matter of asking people to go elsewhere. What if too many people went there and brought their families there? What would happen if they settled down there? Who would they listen to in the future? This problem was very difficult to solve. Not to mention the current Great Tang. Even after the rise of the industrial era, when the speed of ships increased, many colonies still became independent. Those who wanted to establish an independent colony were not the local people's ideas. Most of them were people who had colonized other places. They were the ones who would gain more benefits. Well, it was a very difficult problem to solve unless there was something that could restrict them. "Xiaobao, let's not think about things that are so far away. Think about how we can improve the standard of living of the people in Luzhou as soon as possible." Wang Wan really could not think of a solution, so she could only put it aside for the time being. She and Zhang Xiaobao discussed the problem of the lives of the people. The lives of the people were really good now, but it was not to the extent that she and Zhang Xiaobao had expected. Now, because of the disaster, everyone was working together and playing an unexpected role. But in the future, when the construction here was almost done, they would still have to live their own lives. The adjustment between the various industries and the work that the people could do would all have to be arranged. It was a good opportunity to lay the foundation first. Even if other people came over in the future, or if the local population increased, they could continue to develop according to the plan. The two of them discussed this matter and went down to the cabin to think of ideas. Li Sun did not know what was going on with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. When he saw that the two of them were busy, he did not disturb them. Since there were 4 people left, he let 2 of them be the judges. He planned to play a game of Monopoly with Xinair. This game was also played separately. The 2 of them stayed in their own spot on the deck and could not see where the other was. Then Luer and Weiwei would watch from the sides. There was a chessboard with 2 figures on it. They could clearly see who was winning and who was losing according to certain rules. When the time came, they could determine who was winning and who was losing according to certain rules. This kind of game was not suitable for people who were not well off. There were too many props. It was already good enough that several children from ordinary families could share a map. They could only play dice. The cries of the seabirds and the sound of the waves crashing against the ship made the ship seem very peaceful. On Lu Zhou's side, Old Man Chong and Old Man Pai did not go out with the ship. The 2 of them were still playing billiards. After all, Old Man Chong had a better foundation in the past. He used to be a guard, so he learned how to control his body better than Old Man Pai. The 2 of them played a few rounds. In the end, Old Man Pai did not win a single round. In the end, he could not help but say, "Let's not play anymore. You must have secretly practiced while I was busy with other things. After I'm done with my work, I'll practice as well. Then I'll beat you. Do you think I'm not doing the same thing as you? Many of my pigeons' eggs are gone now. I still have to write a letter to my master and teach others how to train pigeons. I don't have time to practice secretly. You can't do it, but you blame others. You said you were busy, then what were you busy with?" Old Man Chong was not to be outdone. He could not admit defeat in this game. At the same time, he was curious about what Bai Shu had been doing these days. He could only see Bai Shu for a short while every day. He did not know what Bai Shu was busy with during the rest of the time. Old Man Pai put down his cue stick and looked at Old Man Chong. After a moment of hesitation, he said, I'm not afraid to tell you. I'm recording everything about Luzhou. I want to see what's different about Luzhou in a year and a half. I want to see which areas are developing in a good direction and which are getting worse. This way I can know how other areas are developing. This is a good thing that is not easy to get. If Luzhou really does it, then other provinces like Luzhou can do the same, right? That's the real blessing of the people. We can't always rely on Zhongzhong to take care of it alone, right? Haha, old man Pai, it seems like you're right. You actually thought of this. Very well, give me a copy when the time comes. I'll give it to my master and let him take a look. He can learn from it. If it's useful, he can learn from all the places in Tang. It'll be a great merit. Chapter 486. This is Yaowang Mountain. The author of Qian Jin Feng lives here. Everyone can come and take a look. The stone tablet on the side is engraved with Qian Jin Feng. Not only can you see the beautiful scenery here, but you can also get some treatment from some doctors if you are not feeling well. Especially the medicinal bath here. As long as you soak in it, you will feel good all over and... At Yaowang Mountain in Huaiyuan County, a tour guide who was responsible for explaining to tourists was talking about the tourism industry. At the beginning, not many people would come here. Generally, only people who came here to study could follow and take a look. However, when a place similar to the Pear Garden was built at the docks, even more people came over out of curiosity. The main reason was that the Pear Garden built by the emperor in the capital was compared to the one here. In the end, it lost. It had to be known that the people in the Pear Garden were carefully selected from among thousands of people. Once the Pear Garden at the dock lost, the Pear Garden at the dock became popular. Although it was not as good as the Pear Garden in the capital in terms of skills, it had a lot of novelty. It was because of the endless novelty that the Pear Garden in the capital lost. As a result, the Pear Garden in the capital naturally lost. After losing, they began to think of ways to improve and set the time for the next competition. As a result, after several competitions, both sides had wins and losses. This made many officials in the capital come to the dock to watch in their free time. Especially when there was a competition, as long as people could ask for leave, they would definitely come here. After all, there were too few entertainment activities. Because of this, more and more people came here. Many of them came here specifically to watch skits and crosstalk. Since they were already at the dock, they naturally would not miss the other places, especially Yaowang Mountain and Fragrant Mountain. The scenery in these two places was not bad. Yaowang Mountain could cure diseases, and Fragrant Mountain could improve people's luck. At least that was what the people who came here said, especially those who were good at feng shui. Everyone said that this place was good. All of a sudden, the tourism industry developed. Not only in Huaiyuan County, but also in Sanshui County. Needless to say, there was a pier at Little Luoshui. There was a large artificial lake behind it, and there were also all kinds of businesses. Moreover, one could climb up and look into the distance. Between the clouds and the water also attracted a lot of tourists. Some wanted to eat between the clouds and the water, and some wanted to see the scenery between the clouds and the water. There were also people who were preparing to go up the mountain. After all, there was a lake in the mountain. Any literati who came to this place would have to write something to feel comfortable. The things they wrote would immediately be hung up for others to see, and the local people would help them make embroidery. When the time came, whether others bought it or they bought it themselves, it would be a source of income. Now that it was winter, the river had frozen. People took the ice out and kept it for next year's hot summer to sell. As it was all shaved ice, boats could still occasionally pass by the river. The people at Yaowang Mountain were not so lucky. Although the lake was big, if there was no shaved ice, it would be frozen solid. The boats used to transport tourists on the lake had already been moved to the shore. There were two paths to choose from at the top of the mountain. One was the mountain road. If people passed by there, they could ask people to buy the things they saw and bring them back. The other path was naturally the one that crossed the lake in summer. Now that it was frozen, there was no need for boats. They could just walk there casually. However, they still thought of a way to make money, and that was to use ice plows. They let horses walk on the ice. Those who had spare money could sit on the plows, and those who did not had to walk on their own. At this time, Song Jinggong was also among the tourists. The Zhang family and the Wang family had left. Although he was in charge of the little Luoshui pier, he still had to take care of other places. This was the right given to him. He came here today to see how the development was going. In the end, when he saw the ice plows, he decided to go back and make one at Little Luoshui. There was also a lake there, and it was connected to the river. Some goods could even be transported on the ice, provided that they could not continue to use shaved ice. It seemed that those people had accumulated enough. In another 2 days it would freeze again. At that time they could try to transport goods on the ice. Listening to the tour guide's introduction, Song Jinggong strolled slowly and looked around. If there were any money-making ideas, he could earn more money. The tour guide did not know who Song Jinggong was. He had never seen Song Jinggong before. He only knew who was in charge of this place. As he walked, he introduced the place to the others. He recited the content over and over again. The tourists were very happy to hear this, especially when they heard the legends. They were very enthralled. When Song Jinggong heard these legends, he wanted to laugh. Many of these legends were written by people he had hired. There was no such thing. But since it was written, it didn't matter whether it was true or not. After many years, it would be true if it wasn't true. This kind of thing couldn't be explained by anyone. As he was thinking about this, he suddenly heard a tourist say to the person next to him, "This mountain must be very cold. It's snowing now. If we can soak in the hot medicinal bath on the mountain and eat something warm in the snow, it will be very good." Yes, I want to eat in the snow, but unfortunately the food gets cold too quickly. I can't eat it after a few mouthfuls. Bringing a stove can make stew, but the taste is not good. If that thing called hot pot between the clouds and the water can be taken out to eat, then it will be good. Why don't we go to between the clouds and the water after we finish here? It's only a day's journey. Another person added. It seemed that he wanted to eat outside, watch the snow, feel the surrounding cold, and eat hot pot. At this time, the person who spoke first said, "The ticket you bought is here? Then you have to spend more money. The ticket from here to between the clouds and the water is 5 copper coins more expensive if you buy it alone. I bought all the tickets from the capital to the little Luoshui pier. Cheap. Not only is the whole ticket cheaper after buying all the tickets, but when we go to the supermarket over there, we get extra things for free. Next time you have to remember to buy all the tickets. Anyway, it's all for fun, so why care about that little bit of money? Yes, now that you mention it, I just remembered. It seems that I have to buy all the tickets next time. It's too fast to come to a place like this, and I haven't seen enough. Next time I want to join the 1-month tour, which is to use a month to visit all the places here. I heard that there is no ice at between the clouds and the water, but I don't know if it's true or not. When I came here, the river was frozen. In the end, I took the bus from the shore. Did you buy the ticket to pay for the meal? I didn't buy it because I thought it was a little expensive. I just went to ask around, and it turns out that the meal in the ticket is very cheap. It's 20% cheaper than eating the same thing by myself. I really regret it. If I knew it would be like this, I would have bought all the tickets. Also, the bus and the plow, the more you buy, the cheaper it is. I can only spend my own money for lunch today. I don't want to eat something so good, just something simple will do. The person who didn't buy all the tickets seemed very regretful when he talked about the meal. The person from before also said, "Between the clouds and the water naturally doesn't freeze. I know that." Not only did they dig out the ice, they also put a smokeless charcoal brazier on the water to make the water vapor come out. It looks hazy, making people feel like they are in the clouds. This is the most beautiful moment between the clouds and the water. You're talking about the meal ticket. I didn't buy it either. When I came here, I also thought it was expensive. Now that I know it's cheap, I have no choice but to eat the expensive things. You say, if everyone buys more meal tickets, then won't this place not make much money? Why is that? Those bartenders didn't even think about why they agreed to this place called the tour group and charged less money for the meals they brought with them. The two people couldn't understand as they talked. After listening to them, Song Jinggong understood why. It was because they had done something bad. The tour group had a doctor with them. Those who didn't go to the designated places to eat would get sick. Those who didn't go to the designated places to eat would get sick. Those who didn't go to the designated places would get sick. Those who didn't go to the designated places would get sick. In this way, those who didn't want to pay the tour group wouldn't be designated by the tour group. After few bad things, all the restaurants and all kinds of places that did business had to pay the tour group, hoping that the tour group would designate their places. Only in this way could they have customers. Otherwise, they wouldn't have enough money to rent the place. At the same time, not only did they have to pay the tour group a part of the money, but they also had to give the tour group a part of the profit from the things they sold, including the meals. Also, the price of the tickets sold by the tour group had to be reduced. At that time when all these things happened, some people stubbornly refused. In the end, other people's businesses got better day by day. When they made a lot of money, they couldn't even earn back the rent of the place. Helplessly, they had to agree to the tour group. This method surprised Song Jinggong at that time. Fortunately, the service of the designated places was very good. There wouldn't be any problems. The necessary service was provided. If they followed the tour group, the charge wouldn't be too high. Those who joined the tour group had to be supervised by the tour group. In terms of food, hygiene, accommodation, and other services, as long as they didn't do a good job, they would be corrected. Before they passed the standard, they couldn't be designated by the tour group again. Hearing the conversation between the two people, Song Jinggong suddenly pulled the person beside him and ordered, "Go tell the tour group that those who want to follow the tour group to between the clouds and the water should rest in the pavilion by the shore at night. The supper will be changed to hot pot. This time the tourists don't have to pay more. It's okay to pay a little more. Those who bought the supper when they bought the tickets will be able to eat hot pot. As for those who didn't buy, they will pay more. Go, it will be like this in the winter." The person who followed Song Jinggong to run errands immediately obeyed the order, even though he didn't understand why the people who bought the supper would be given such preferential treatment. The hot pot was more than 10 times more expensive than the supper. Song Jinggong was relieved. As long as there were a few more loss-making transactions like this, the tourists would know to buy all the tickets. It felt like a loss, but it wasn't a loss at all. After all, some tourists didn't buy meal tickets. Although the food they ate was more expensive, they would choose the cheaper ones. Moreover, they wouldn't order so many dishes. Naturally, the tour group had to listen to Song Jinggong's words. They immediately made the arrangements. The people on the tour group followed Song Jinggong's train of thought and immediately gave them an opportunity. That was, they could sell the meal tickets again and tell the tour group about the supper. At the same time, they could continue to buy all the tickets at a cheaper price. When they heard that the supper was to eat hot pot in the pavilion outside while admiring the moon and snow, many people regretted it even more. In the end, they knew that there was still one more chance when they were hungry. Many people quickly bought the tickets. Although it was still more expensive than buying at the beginning, it was at least better than not buying at all. Song Jinggong also decided to follow them back. He happened to arrive at Little Luoshui. As he walked forward with the crowd, he listened to the tour guide's story that seemed to be unable to stop. He found it very interesting. When they reached the mountain, the tour guide finally stopped and told the tourists that they could move freely, but they had to be careful. They would gather again at night. The tourists held the shopping tickets in their hands and began to play or buy things in other places. It was cheaper to buy things with such tickets. There was a number written on the tickets so they could spend as much money as they wanted. Moreover, the shops and stalls were not allowed to deliberately raise the price just because the tourists held the shopping tickets in their hands. They had to mark the price. From time to time, the tour group would send people to bargain with these merchants without the shopping tickets. Once the price was negotiated, the merchants would either have to pay a large sum of money for breach of contract or be excluded by the tour group. The tour group would remove the sign hanging on their shops or stalls. This kind of money-making method made the merchants happy. They earned a lot of money every day, but a part of it had to be given to the tour groups. The tour groups didn't do anything, but they were able to earn money, which made them feel very unbalanced. At least, they didn't know that it was because of the existence of the tour groups that their business was so good. Those who used connections and spent a lot of money to get the rental seats now hated and loved Zhang Zhong. It was no wonder that Zhang Zhong gave away so many benefits. It turned out that he was waiting for them at this time. The business here was limited. For example, the restaurants were only allowed to have those. The others were not allowed to open wine. However, the Zhang family rented the 3 candlelight shops that no one cared about. They only rented the 3 candlelight shops and gave away the rest. At first, these people were very grateful to Zhang Zhong. At this time, they wished that they could pull Zhang Zhong over to discuss the matter of the shops again. It was because there was a temple on the mountain, and it was Sun Simiao's temple. Sun Simiao's medical skills were really good, and with the tour group's strong promotion, many people suddenly treated him as a god. With the temple, they naturally burned incense and prayed for the health of their family members. They prayed that there would be no illness or disaster in the future. They had to burn incense and fill incense oil. If they wanted to have these things, they had to bring them from home or buy them here. The 3 shops were all rented by the Zhang family. Almost every tourist would buy some. The Zhang family was making a lot of money. Who would not be jealous? But there was no other way. They could only watch the things being sold day by day, but they could not get in. Although the 3 shops also had to pay for the tour group was also the Zhang family's. So they could get in with their left hand. Song Jinggong admired this the most. Although they did not take up much space, no matter who took up the space, they had to pay for the tour group. This was calculated. No wonder they wanted to set up a tour group in the beginning. It was all in preparation for today. When Song Jinggong saw that the others had left, he also found a place to eat. He also took a medicinal bath and asked someone to give him a massage. He felt very comfortable inside and out. When he ate, he also ordered a few of his favorite dishes. These were free. He had the right to do so. As long as it was a shop opened by the Zhang family and Wang family, no matter what he did, they would not charge him, even if it was the 100-year-old ginseng in the pharmacy. Unlike other shopkeepers, when they left their own shops and went to other people's places, they had to give them some money when they ate. They also had to write down their name and put their fingerprint. There was a fixed amount every month. They could not eat as much as they wanted. If it was a public relations matter, they had to pay in full. When the time came, the money spent would go through the public relations account. The reception place would have to give a voucher to prove that it was true. Then, when the account was checked, the money would have to be compared with the voucher given by the restaurant and other places. The amount would only be counted if the amount was correct. Moreover, there was also a limit to the public relations fee. It was calculated according to the size of the bar and the location. The name of the public relations person needed to be written on the account book. If the managers of 2 or more places dared to help each other cheat the public relations fee, then they could only hope that they would not be found out. Every place had a manager and a special accountant. As long as someone found out about this, then they would be directly rewarded with double the amount of money. In other words, if the public relations fee could be embezzled with 50 strings of coins, then once the person reported it and it was found to be true, they would be rewarded with 100 strings of coins, including the waiter and the cook. Moreover, this rule was not only used for the public relations fee, but also for the usual purchases. As a result, these people were usually very careful and did not dare to be greedy. Otherwise, the people around them might report it. If they wanted to bribe people with money, then even if they took out all the money they had, it would not be enough. Song Jinggong belonged to the most free people. He also gave the most wages. Moreover, he had shares in some of the transactions. It was very easy for him to be greedy. However, it was precisely because of this that he did not try to be greedy. Not only was it tiring to be greedy, but it was also difficult to be greedy and take a big risk. He was scared to death of Zhang Xiaobao. At the same time, he was also grateful to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The two of them trusted him very much. If he really did something wrong to the Zhang family and Wang family, would he still be a human? Therefore, Song Jinggong never used this kind of treatment on others. Even if it was a good friend, he would spend his own money to treat them to a meal. He only used this kind of privilege when he was enjoying himself. After taking a bath and having a meal, Song Jinggong was about to take a break. Just as he was about to follow the tour group to Little Luo Shui, the person in charge of delivering the news rushed over and said to him, "There's no need to worry. Young Master Song, we just received news that the Yellow River Shipping Company wanted to stop our ship this time. They said that they lost something on the ship and wanted to check it. However, they were deterred by the force of our people on the ship. They rushed over and sent a fast horse here to report the news. Yellow River Shipping Company. How could their goods be on our ship? What are they trying to do?" Song Jinggong frowned when he heard the news. He usually had no contact with the Yellow River Shipping Company. Although he had approached them to cooperate, they had refused. What was the meaning of this? Checking the goods. Could it be that he wanted to buy those goods from Lu Zhou at a cheap price? Song Jinggong could not figure it out. He tapped his leg with his hand and thought about it from the perspective of the Yellow River Shipping Company. If he was a member of the Yellow River Shipping Company, what was the purpose of this? Did they not know who was behind this fleet? Or was there some other backer supporting him? Checking the ship. Did they want to check the structure of the ship? They would not dare to do this even if they were given several guts, especially a triangular sail ship. This was something that only the Zhang family, Wang family, and Li Sun could use. No one else was allowed to use it. Song Jinggong, who could not figure it out, asked the informant, "Is there any other news?" "Yes, and the Yellow River Shipping Company has also gotten a lot of big ships. I heard that there are 20 of them. They are buying something here. The things they are buying are very strange. There are actually some leftover fur and some books. I don't know what they want to do." The informant continued. Song Jinggong was stunned for a moment. Then he laughed, shook his head and said, "I understand now. Sell the leftover fur from our side to them. Wait, don't sell them first. Buy them first. They need to spend a lot of money to buy them. Raise the price. They have so many ships, and they won't be able to get enough in a short time. Let's give them a hand. Well, that's it. Spread the news that Little Luo Shui is buying a lot of leftover fur at a high price. Then, find a way to transfer the leftover fur to someone who has nothing to do with us. Ask him to sell it to the Yellow River Shipping Company. If we can cheat them once, we will." "Young master, do you know why they are buying the leftover fur?" "I am curious." The informant did not leave immediately. Instead, he asked curiously, "You're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."